got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P.
Hey, sorry, we're not going to do check-ins this week because this thing ran really long. So just enjoy the show. This is Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Megan with Believe in the Run.
This is Karl with Believe in the Run.
Karl!
Yeah.
Karl's up front.
This is the Africa edition. But honestly, Karl's stepping in and raising the bar for us because Robbe is in Spain celebrating his brother's nuptials.
Yeah. He's busy.
Busy looking at people.
So
Profess their love.
We've got so much to talk about this week.
We do.
You guys were in Kenya. I was in DC.
Oh, man. This was, I feel, if you could be completely wiped out, I don't know about you, Karl, but man, that was a lot.
Yeah, I asked when we got into the office, I said, do you know like what day it is and what time it is?
I've been up since 3 a.m., like wide awake.
I was awake at like 4, and I was like, should I just go for my run now? And I was like, I'll be wrecked.
Yeah.
I just think about like when I dropped you guys at the airport and then all the things that I did until you were like in Nairobi.
Well, it's 30 hours of travel, so almost 2 days. So we pretty much left one day, and I mean, did you even know what day it was when we landed and stuff?
No. I mean, it's 7 hours time difference from here to there. So
8.
Thought it was 7.
8.
Is it really?
It's 8. 7 to Paris, 6 to London.
Huh. Well, that's crazy.
That's why you're waking up at 3.
Yeah, well, I guess now, yeah, I'm like, oh, it's like 10 a.m. I guess it's 11 a.m. there and at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we didn't have a smooth trip, by the way.
Yeah, it started out pretty rough because I think you sat on the tarmac at BWI for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a storm. Wetness was going over Atlanta, and they don't like it.
No, to be fair, when you said there were storms, I like looked it up because I was like, what's really happening? And it was like, there's tornado warnings and hail the size of golf balls, and it sounded nuts.
They shut down the whole like landing area, like no flights. It wasn't just ours. It was like any flight going in or out of Atlanta was basically grounded.
Yeah. So, but they were nice enough to let us sit on the plane on the tarmac instead of waiting in the building. So
Yeah,
you knew you had a plane.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was a good start.
So when we got to Atlanta,
You missed your second flight.
our flight to Paris, which started another adventure because our bags decided they were going without us. Our flight was delayed getting off the ground in Baltimore, so we're seeing if we'll catch our next flight. What are the chances?
What are the chances, man? But this is traveling, right? Reminded me of Venice last year because we left Atlanta also. So it was just like crazy flashbacks. But yeah, my bag ended up...
Wait, you didn't say, because we lost our bags when we went to Venice.
We lost our bags when we went to Venice, and we left Atlanta from there. So that's where it happened. So it was basically a repeat.
I feel like in Atlanta, they're probably just
I
like,
was
hey,
like,
it's a bag, put it on a
let's
plane.
never fly through Atlanta again.
The problem is going to Atlanta, the flight is always delayed. That's why it happens. Like whenever we leave BWI, it's always delayed for some reason.
Yeah. So we get to Atlanta, we get on our flight, and luckily, did we upgrade from Atlanta? Or
No,
that was a rough one. Okay.
That was when we're in the boat. We're in the middle aisle, and like it's a 4-seater, and you and I were
In the middle?
Yeah.
middle. Yeah.
We were both middles.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think I was just happy you made that flight because I remember looking at your flight from Europe to Nairobi, Paris to Nairobi, and there was like no other flights for like 48 hours.
Yeah, we needed to get on that plane.
Yeah.
It was a 6 o'clock flight, and that's the one that we got booked on. So yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. But then we got to Paris, and Paris, our plane was there, but they're like, you can't get on it. We closed the gate.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I remember we were just like standing there for like a really long time, and I'm like, why? Why did they let us board, but like kept us in a little connecting area?
So then what happened?
So we got a different flight, and this time we upgraded.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, if you're going to fly for more than 3 hours,
It's worth it.
It's so worth it.
So worth it. That flight was very nice compared to like
Very
going-
nice.
Very nice.
But you guys didn't get the lay down beds, right?
No,
we didn't do
no,
lay
no.
down. We
Okay.
did like the plus.
Comfort Plus.
Yeah.
But I think I got the better end of that deal because I was in the front row, so you had all the leg room.
There was a couple times where Karl got the better deal than I did, but this was definitely one of them. But that was from Paris to Nairobi, which was another like 8-hour flight.
8.5 hours, yeah. So
And of course, we land in Nairobi. It's like nighttime. I don't know what time nighttime.
it was around like 8:30, 9 o'clock their time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're waiting for our bags.
And they just never show up.
Karl checks his app, see his thing.
Check my air tag. It said it was at the Amsterdam airport. I'm like, well, that's weird. That shouldn't be there.
And so they check on my bag and they say, oh, yours is in London. So I don't know how, like, they just got off the plane. They threw one direction, one the other direction.
They're like, these guys aren't flying anywhere anytime
Yeah.
soon. Like, we'll just, whatever. They'll be fine.
So we waited around. That took some time to figure out that our bag wasn't going to be there, fill out forms that our bag was missing.
Yeah.
But then we're ready to leave the airport.
So we're ready to leave, and they make you run your bag through like a luggage check one more time to like scan it or whatever.
By the way, luggage checks every 50 feet.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know what they think you're going to do from the time you enter.
You come in
time
the
you get to
airport
next
and you put it
checkpoint.
through a check.
You go through multiple checks.
You get your ticket, then you put it through another check. And then before you get on the plane, there was like an
One
additional
more
check.
Yeah, it was really ridiculous. But I put in my Pelican case that has all the camera gear, and like Thomas is already walking out of the building. He's meeting, everyone from the team, the Kiprun team, like outside, and I'm stuck there. They want to search the case, and then they open it and they tell me right away. They're like, "Is that a drone?" And I'm like,
You should have said no.
I mean, what was I
Yeah,
going to say?
now, hindsight.
And then they were basically just like, "Oh, well, it's a restricted item here. You can't have you can't bring it in unless you have like a permit from the Aviation Commission or whatever." Which I should have probably checked on before we left. But it was like it's a small drone. There's never like any issues usually with that.
Wait, so you have to have a permit for Kenya?
I think for all of Africa, I think just
Yeah.
like you can't bring a drone into Africa.
It's a
period.
DJI. It's like
It's a Mini 4 Pro.
Yeah,
It's-
the little tiny fella.
Yeah, the one that like you can get away with not really registering or like I don't know all the rules here, but I know that it's like under the weight limit for certain things. So it's
Yeah,
like
you don't have to get the license.
yeah,
to
it's a
fly
very
it.
consumer friendly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, we're gonna be in the middle of nowhere, E10. Like,
We didn't anything.
I wasn't gonna fly to Nairobi or anything, like in a city. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think there'd be an issue. I've seen drone footage of Kenya before,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, must be fine. So I had to go chase Thomas down, and he had to go. He got led into an office, which took like half an hour of just like I left him there because I was there in the beginning. I just gave him the drone. I'm just like, I'm gonna wait outside, meet the Kiprun team, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm outside, and we're just talking, and it's like, dude, it's been like half an hour.
They decided to train someone while they were having me fill out the paperwork. So everything I did was like done 2 times.
With like an intern?
Yeah. So finally we drop off the drone, and here's the thing. They give you a piece of paper and like, do not lose this piece of paper because you won't get your drone back. And they're like, we don't care. And I was like, fine, I'll keep track of the piece of paper, put it someplace safe. And they're like, you got to come back here before you go on your flight home.
Yeah.
And you can only get it when you're on your flight home. And they want to escort you to your gate to make sure that you don't give it to someone in Nairobi or like,
Yeah, they're handing off to anyone else. or
Dude, who
whatever.
knew drones were such a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. We were just it was already late, and like I think it was already like 9 o'clock, so we were just like whatever.
The coolest thing you can see, one of the items is on Karl's chest. When we got to the hotel, which was probably a 30-minute ride to the hotel.
20 minutes, yeah, it wasn't too.
Tim from PR Presence, they had got us like a snack bag, and because like the restaurants were closed, and
They knew you didn't
They
have your
knew we didn't have
luggage.
luggage.
Yeah.
They had called me actually while we were in line to fill out the form, and they had already known because I guess the airline contacted them or something, and they were like, "We know that your luggage is in here." So Tim went to the mall and got like T-shirts,
snacks.
toiletries, underwear, just like
That's
a big bag of
nice.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
just for me and Thomas. He was like,
My
"This should
underwear
tie you."
says chill.
Well, I like your T-shirt that said Akuna Matata.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm wearing one right now. If you can see
Big
this on the
5
video.
Kenya.
Yeah.
I love this shirt. Man. I wore this.
That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so interesting. So we went to the hotel for the night, and we were basically only staying there for the night because the next morning everyone else was going to arrive that was in our group, and we were gonna have like breakfast and then a morning briefing, and then straight back to the airport to go to Eldoret.
Yeah, I got up a little early and met Kofuzi for breakfast and a little bit of the gym.
Yeah, so who were the other media there with you guys?
Just Meta Endurance Alex and
His video
Julio.
guy, Julius.
I keep wanting to call him Julio.
I keep wanting to call him Judas.
Juice.
Juice.
Yeah.
Someone's calling him.
Julius.
And the fashion jogger and her camera/husband.
Fabio.
Camera/husband.
Yeah.
Camera guy, manager.
Manager. Yeah. And then Michael Coe. And that's it.
Really small group.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was very, very tight and intimate.
So yeah, we're at the gym and I see Alex and Co. They again had the treadmill situation at hotels make me love my WAHOO kicker so much. Kicker run. But like the screen, you couldn't see it. So and the light
Was it worse than the Boston situation where you had to tap it every?
No, it wasn't. But it was like this thing was circa 1960.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a new. To be fair, it was probably early 2000 or something like that. But like the tread was pretty worn on it. The screen, you could barely see. Like I was trying to figure out what to hit to make it move, but you could barely see it on the screen.
I'm imagining like the whole treadmill shaking while you're running.
Yeah,
on
pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we met some other people from the outside PR. Zach was there, so he was on a treadmill. He came up to me, asked me if I was Karl, which I was like, no.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, so and then I actually did a little weightlifting in the gym before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I did not.
So we headed
I
out.
slept in, and I was like, I'm glad I did.
dude, that first night, that was probably the best night of sleep I got in
Me
Africa.
too. Yeah, me too.
Which is weird
Probably
because
because
we
you were
slept
so.
on the plane so
I was
much.
gonna say probably because you were so tired from the travel.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Heavy legs, you know. I mean, I probably should have gone for a run. I think that may have helped in the long run, but I don't know. Like, it was just...
Yeah.
So then you guys get on another plane.
So now, but this is like, yeah, domestic flight, Nairobi to Eldoret, right?
Yeah.
And
Little two twin
Yeah.
prop plane.
yeah,
That one would have made me nervous.
it was no worse than like the domestic Delta flights that you take here.
Those
are
It's
pretty
like-
bad.
Yeah, like the really tiny, very barely passable for an aircraft. Yeah,
But it
but
have nice leopard spots on the tail.
there was a sea turtle printed on
Yeah.
the side, which was cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
But it was fairly straightforward, 30-minute flight, so it was very easy. And then from there, we went to check into our hotel, which was going to be like the main hub, I guess, for, we'll get into it, like the scheduling of things. But we were there for that night, so we checked in. And then,
All of us were there that first night.
yeah, we all stayed in that hotel for the first
Yeah.
night. And I got a free upgrade to the business suite, which was pretty awesome.
Why did you get that?
I don't know, it's a random thing. There was
Again,
there's
another
just
time Carl's getting the extra
What was in
good
your
treatment.
business suite?
a really long shower. Like, it was like a really nice shower, and like just I had a California
Wait,
king
what makes
bed.
it a long shower?
Yeah, I was expecting you to say tub or something.
There wasn't a tub, which is crazy. It's just like because I've also had the second time we stayed, I just had the regular shower. It's basically like twice the size of that.
And what would you use that for? Like, what would be
Running
the
up and
advantage of
down.
that?
Yeah, you could do
Slip
some
and
sort
slide.
of 100-meter dashes in the wet.
Yeah, that seems like a benefit I can
Like you seem
pass
so
on.
excited about a long shower, and I'm like, is that it?
Dude,
Is
long
that-
showers are the wave, people. Get it while you can.
They also have, so one of my favorite things about Japan is their phenomenal toilets. You've got the heated seats, you got the button you push that cleans you off, you got the whole,
Yeah.
it's like a next level. I was like, I'm living in the future. This one did, for the people who enjoy, water, it had a hose next to it with like a dishwashing, like.
That's like your traditional bidet without like all the fancy.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's what a
Okay.
bidet usually is. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought the bidet was the second toilet with the little nozzle thing that you see.
That like in Italy, like when we were in Italy.
Yeah, in France usually I think
Yeah.
they do that.
No, in America here, my last apartment we had that.
Oh,
Like, just like
in
a-
the United States?
well, we bought it on Amazon and installed. But it's very cheap, so I would recommend it. It
geez,
gets the
man.
job done. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that keeps you from taking full showers.
No, but the problem with that is that sometimes the water pressure is like way too high. So it's like once you press it, yeah, it's just all over the place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that-
so not as great of toilets as Japan.
No, no. But it was, the hotel was nice. It was like located in a mall and the restaurant there.
Did we go for the run at Kipchoge track that first day that we were there?
Yeah, we did. So we had lunch and then we checked in and I think we had maybe like an hour downtime to like do whatever. And then we ended up meeting up.
Downtime seemed
Very scarce.
short in duration usually.
Yeah. I think that was probably the most that we had
Yeah.
that day. But yeah, we ended up going to the Kipchoge Stadium track, which if you've watched any running YouTube stuff.
Well, it's
in
not the
Kenya-
Kipchoge Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kipchoge Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not, that's not the same track you see like when you watch the social media stuff. I think that's the one that was in E10. Because that's where, like, even while we were there, I saw some NN content, which had like their team on that track that's up an E10. That one's pure dirt.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah, this one it wasn't pure dirt. It at one point had the rubber surface on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I guess they were stands to like sit and watch.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. I mean, you'll see we have pictures and stuff, but like I really wanted a drone shot there. That was like the one I was like, oh man, flying the drone over here would be sick. Because I have seen this stadium in like YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I know what you're talking about though, like the main one But this one we were able to go there from like 4 to 5, so we only had like an hour. So you guys, Co and Alex, you ran like what 5K?
Well, I was like, we're here at the track. We have I'll at least do a 5K on this track.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm beat at this point. I'm tired. Like I haven't really adjusted.
Is this what it looks like?
Yeah, that's a good picture of it.
Well, they
Like,
said
that's a
that
good angle of it.
I just Googled it to look at a photo, and they said that the government had promised to inject 200 million for like to update it in 2019, and they said they're still waiting.
Yeah, nobody's ejected anything into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was basically, it looked the same as it probably did at that time. So
Yeah. I told Meg there's like a Patterson High School has a track near us that I was like, that's in better condition than
But this
one.
is like iconic, right?
Yeah.
yeah, you're there for the history. You're there
Yeah.
for the fact that the athletes run there. Like you're kind of just like doing it just to soak that in.
Yeah, it's like, it's the spot in Eldoret where the athletes would come together.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of interesting. So even like our hotel, as you can imagine, was gated. And when you're running, you kind of need escorts. Like anytime we ran, there was like motorcycles following us or
We had a van.
a van. So we did the run there, and I ended up running a little bit more because like after we finished the 5K, we still had time.
It's sometimes. So I'm just like, I had the camera out. So I think I only ran like 2 miles because it was like I was trying to like do some laps and then get the camera, film some things and put it down, do another one. And then, so I was kind of more just like sporadically, but I mean, dude, it was hard. It was hard
I was
running
going to say,
there.
did
Like-
you feel the
Yeah.
I felt it right
elevation?
away.
All of us, like I was like Co and everybody was like, oh geez, I'm sucking air.
And you're at what, 9,000 there?
No,
it's
there is actually lower than Eldoret, which is
Okay.
8,000. So I think it was around 7,000.
Okay.
You mean E10? E10's higher
E10,
than
yeah,
Eldoret.
yeah.
Yeah. So we were in Eldoret, and yeah, that was how much did you say? Like 6,000 or?
I think it
7,000?
was like around close to 7,000.
Yeah.
So you felt it though.
Yeah, and like looking at my heart rate, like my heart rate was like skyrocketing,
Yeah.
like just doing like 945s basically around the track, and I'm just like, this hurts, man. Like,
And we got back in the van to go back to the hotel, and fashion jogger Fabio and Alex decided to run back to the hotel,
because it was about 2K from where we were.
which sounded cool, but then our van decided he would have to follow them. So we were going like 3 miles per hour. I was like, I'll just jump out and run from here too.
Yeah,
But-
like everyone's like honking their horn behind us, passing us. 'Cause-
yeah. So they finally got there. We all had dinner. Yeah.
So that was fairly standard. We just ate at the hotel restaurant. What did we get? Chicken in a basket.
Yeah. That's the
Thomas
thing.
sent me
It had-
some photos of the menu, which was
Chicken
cracking me up.
mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Chicken
was,
fat girl's dilemma.
Yeah.
yeah. It was so. There was one that was Fat Girl's Dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely. it's almost like when you're in Japan, you see stuff written in English and you're like, okay, they're missing something.
Lost in
But the thing
translation.
is, like, that was the thing I wasn't expecting. They speak English.
Yeah.
Like, it's mostly English.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the national languages. Like, that's just kind of how it is. So,
Yeah, but I don't know. I like in speaking to like when we interviewed Kipchoge and stuff, I expected like the Swahili or
Yeah.
something to be like something we heard, or the signs would be more in a different language. All the signs were
English.
Yeah.
Like, everyone spoke it. Like, it was
What did you think of the food? Like, was it
fine.
like we would have here?
You know, I was surprised it didn't have the punch. Like normally, I feel like people say, "Oh, American food is bland" or whatever. I didn't feel like their food had, at least the food that we were having, had a lot of seasoning. It
Yeah.
was just
like I've had like African cuisine before where they had, I know the spices that they use, like in like Moroccan food and like other stuff like that. So this was, more of, I guess they were trying to like, it's a hotel and it's like, they're probably trying to pander to tourism and just like.
But even the stuff that we ate in E10, it wasn't like seasoned.
Except for the vegetables, which were like really salty.
That's salt.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's one season.
It's one season, but but there was it's kind of just bland, I guess. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. But
Yeah, so that was kind of surprising. But we got over to the 42 house.
yeah, so the next day we checked out of the hotel
Yeah.
because we were gonna stay at the 42 house that evening.
Which is
Live
where
like an
the
athlete.
athletes stay and live.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we said in the beginning of this, but you guys were there with Kiprun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We probably should have just started that off.
And most U.S. people may not know what Kiprun is,
Yeah.
but it's a brand that's part of the Decathlon brand, and they are entering the U.S. in 2026. So this was kind of more of like a welcome and kind of get an idea of what the brand is like, their values, and see kind of like where they're going with their product. And it was like this house that they have set up is there to nurture talent from E10, and they have space for 22 athletes. There were 17 staying there when we were there, which opened up 2 rooms so that 2 groups from our tour could stay there one night.
So they aren't bringing athletes in.
These
Those
are
are all local.
E10
Okay.
Kenyan athletes.
yeah.
I think I don't know if they have to live in E10, but they have to be Kenyan.
Sure.
And so the house is pretty cool, and they have the coaches there, the trainers are there, they have a cook, everything like that are right there. And at first I was like, this is cool, but I don't think I appreciated like from where these athletes are coming from, the luxury that this space provides for their training, like to have someone taking care of all this for you and not having to worry about finances and that kind of stuff. It's probably a pretty much like.
So, this is where they spend all their time. They're living, sleeping, eating.
Yeah. They get up, they go train, they come back,
Rest.
they recover,
And go for another
and
run.
then just go for another, and they have like on the wall, they have like their training programs basically listed on like a giant calendar. They have all the upcoming races. Now, obviously 42 house is called 42 because 42K for the marathon, but they do have 10K and 5K athletes as well,
Okay.
like shorter distance people.
Nelvin, who was a shorter distance female
Yeah.
runner, was just delightful.
She was awesome.
She also let me know that she's queen of the house several times, which was kind of cool because I guess she gets the closest bungalow to the main area.
In my mind, like when you said athletes, I was thinking male athletes, but obviously it makes sense that there's both
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing in Kenya. There's been you think about it, and I don't know, even in the U.S., women's sports and women in running, it's sort of a new thing. Like when you think about Joan Benoit
Yeah.
running the first Olympic marathon in 1984, but it's a real big deal in Kenya. They're really making an effort to kind of counterculture, support women. And when I say counterculture, it's because from our understanding, the value of male to female, it's a male dominated society
For sure. Yeah.
Just in general, not
and-
running.
Just in general.
right?
Yeah.
And the value of men is much higher.
Scene. Yeah. As much.
And this is not like a mild, I think in the U.S. we have, our issues with, gender bias and stuff like that. But it's like if you see it like here, it's not
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like in your face there, and it needs to be protected and
The
things like
hierarchy
that.
of everything. Yeah. It's like very, so.
But here it makes here seem like as much as
So
people
Kiprun
probably-
is trying to bring in more female athletes specifically for that reason.
Well, it's 50-50.
Okay.
So there's a female, like if you imagine a pyramid shape with a courtyard in the middle of the triangle, on one side you have the male athletes, on the other side is the female athletes. At the pinnacle would be the shared space, the gym, the dining hall,
Yeah.
and all of that. So it was pretty cool. And the greatest thing about it is it's built right above the Rift Valley. So like the view,
Nice.
Yeah. It's really nice on the rooftop.
like sick.
I mean, like just even that like courtyard area is just like, it's so green. It's so lush. Like it's very like quiet. It's like very peaceful. So looking to recover. Yeah. It's like you get back from your run.
Do they
you
have
kinda
like
just-
a massage therapist there?
They did
So,
have a
like,
massage table.
They have a table in the gym area.
Okay.
And they said they utilize that. So.
I'm always just imagining like they're going for a run and then sitting on a table and getting massaged. And
like
then-
Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
No, not Chris Tucker.
I was like, who's Chris Tucker?
Justin Tucker.
Oh, okay. No, not like that.
I knew exactly where he was going with that.
It's funny that I say Chris Tucker because we were talking about what was that movie?
Rush Hour.
Yeah, Rush Hour. Yeah.
And he did in Rush Hour 2. They did fight at a massage parlor. Like that's like that was the whole thing. So,
Brings
Full
it all
circle.
together.
yeah. So you weren't completely off base.
Yeah.
So.
There's some truth in everything I say.
So living like an athlete, you
Yeah.
spent the night there, you ate there,
We
you ran
did.
there.
And let me tell you something. I think it's seeing the general area of where we were. It's like luxurious and compared, but for those of us in the U.S., you have it so good. Just know that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll get into more of my feelings like when we wrap up the whole trip. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, just be grateful
Yeah.
for what you got here.
Yeah, and I do think everybody would adjust to where they are, so it's not like a negative about like I'm not nose up.
Oh, no, for
it.
sure.
I'm just saying, hey, we've got a lot to be appreciative.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And it's just for us, since, like we were basically staying in like a really nice hotel the night before. 24 hours later, we're sharing a room. Me and Thomas, there's 2 beds in the room. No air conditioning.
You had to bring up the 2 beds.
We did. Ladies and gents, we did sleep in the same room.
There was 2 beds, you guys shared one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and Robbe, like in Paris when we went.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same thing. But no air conditioning. There were like, flies and stuff flying in because like there's curtains, but the doors sometimes were like open and stuff. So, and there was no light in the bathroom. So
Well, but it had white walls, so if you put your flashlight on your iPhone,
it was fine. Yeah, like I said, you just adapted to it.
Yeah.
But it was just like a crazy contrast from where we
Yeah,
were the
sure.
night before.
All right, Meg, the heat is back. It's time for Element Summertime Edition or Spring Summertime Edition. I've been using the winter, but now I'm transitioning back into
Into the straight element packets.
with how I like it.
Yes. So if you're not familiar, Element is an electrolyte beverage. They come in very easy to mix little packages, have all the electrolytes you need, plenty of sodium to keep you hydrated. It helps with maintaining steady energy. It improves your cognitive function. You get less headaches, Robbie.
Oh yeah, I took 2 of those. I took like 2 or 3 of those after the Miami Marathon in the heat.
Whoa,
and
2 or 3?
It brought me right back to life.
Okay.
Took my headache straight
The
right away.
cognitive functioning, I'm not sure it's working on me, but the rest is with the magnesium and everything. Regular water is boring after drinking this. I told Meg the other day I was making it, and I was like, I'm kind of addicted.
Yeah, and I love it for before the race as well as Robbie used it afterwards, but it also helps with muscle cramps and just keeping you overall hydrated and ready to go. So if you guys haven't tried it yet, you definitely need to. And if you just want to get a test of it, you can go to drinkelement.com/thedrop, and then you can get an 8-count free sample pack.
Yeah.
But like we're jumping ahead a little bit, but while we were at the 42 house that afternoon, after we got the tour is when we got shown this shoe that's right here.
Yeah, they
on the
brought
table.
out one of their shoes. And look, you might be like, hey, how can we trust a review that's coming out? They took it to Kenya. I know people get weird when we go on a trip and we get a shoe.
I know, yeah.
But don't worry, you'll never get this shoe. So
Yeah,
we'll tell you
there you
about
go.
it. but it's a $300 shoe that they're producing like 500 units of.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see it anyhow.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like almost like one of the earlier Vaporflies.
I could see that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cool stuff about it. So, I mean, first off, I was a little worried about the upper because it's made from that material that doesn't stretch. And it just looked like, okay, it's not going to fit well. But it actually fits really nicely.
Well, you did have to go down a size.
Oh, I did. Yeah, but the sizing also was in European.
Yeah.
So normally if I get a shoe from Europe, it's like a 44. This one's a 43. Try to figure that out if you're from the US.
Yeah, good luck.
But yeah, so yeah, it's a 43.
I kept my 44, but I did use the second eyelet to lace up, and it was fine. I was getting heel lift without it, so.
I was a little concerned about this, like,
Yeah,
point.
I was just looking at that.
I always wear a taller sock anyway, so I didn't have any issue. Did you find it rubbing or anything?
I also had tall socks
Yeah.
for the whole trip.
But
so
is that
it's fine.
like also? I'm just thinking about the Vaporfly. How there's like gaping around the ankles. That's what
It
would
wasn't
look
bad.
like.
No, I didn't get
Okay.
a ton
It
of
wasn't
that.
bad. I was also nervous about the skinny, hard laces.
Yeah, I will say these are probably are not my favorite.
I didn't mind them.
You didn't mind them? All right.
Well, sorry, what is this shoe called?
Sorry.
It's called the-
KD900 LAB.
Oh, I don't even know why I asked.
I think there's an X
What?
at the end too.
Oh, it doesn't say it on here.
No, they didn't.
They didn't
print
say,
it on
yeah, they
here,
didn't
but
print it
they-
on here, but they said, I think the production version
Yeah.
will have the X on here. KD900X LAB. And I guess if you're familiar with Kiprun, which you probably are not, like I wasn't, their shoes are like, they use the numbering system 500 and 900.
500 is like, it's kind of like fresh foam and
Fuel
Fuel
cell.
cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 900 is like all the tech. So that would be the fuel cell. Like that's
Okay.
like the shoes. Like anything with a 900 designation has like the high tech and whatever.
Yeah.
And the 500 is more of your standard. Like we were wearing like a daily trainer. I think that was like the 500 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that one was called.
I don't even know
But
either.
so you can see underneath the tongue here, Meg, that the lacing comes underneath. Like it doesn't have padding between.
Oh, so you'd feel that?
Well, I didn't. We were all worried about that though.
Yeah.
Like
We
when
all-
you saw it, like everybody's like, "Oh, this is going to give a lace bite, no doubt."
Yeah.
I didn't have any issues.
Me neither. So
Yeah.
And it looks like plenty of stack. I'm assuming there's a carbon plate in there.
I guess the
Wait.
stack while we were there.
yeah, they were like, oh, like trying to take a guess at the stack. And you were right. You said, well, it's a 4mm drop and it's printed on the shoe. So you
Yeah.
already had that hint.
Yeah.
And obviously if it's a race shoe, you're like, okay,
Right,
it can't-
40.
Yeah.
I said
36.
39.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
it's 39.
I was like, it's a little shy of 40 and nailed it. It has the insole is stitched in, which was interesting because I saw them running in a different Kiprun shoe when we were on Moibin Road. And the athlete, they pulled, like these guys must love shoes more than us because I wouldn't be touching anybody's feet. Stuff like this after like a hard 32K run or something. They pulled the shoes off the athlete and they were like checking the insole and, you know, touching the inside and seeing if there was any rubbing on their feet. And like, I was just like, but yeah, so I thought it was interesting that is stitched in
Yeah.
to this shoe.
Yeah. And the carbon plate, it's pretty flexible, right? Like
It
it's
is
not-
flexible, but it's
yeah.
a J shape, which kind of
Yeah.
worked on some of the roads that we had to run in. Look, I'll tell you this. I don't know how the Kenyans are doing it. Like half the time they're on roads that I would be using at least like a trail, road to trail
Some
shoe.
lugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
for
were
sure.
like this. You can see by the bottom of
I
the
was
shoe.
going to
This
say,
was
you've got a
white.
ton of clay and dirt and
Yeah.
When they
stuff.
gave this to us, it's white.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty flexible plate. It's J shaped, so it comes up along
Yeah.
the lateral side and then only like midway down on
Yeah,
the
like curves and
medial
then comes
side.
down, yeah.
But it works. I liked it. It kind of acted like that independent suspension kind of thing where you could like sometimes if you hit a plate and it doesn't have that split there, you kind of get the whole shoe will go one way or the other.
It'll turn your ankle one way. Yeah.
This one I felt like on some of the uneven terrain we were on,
Mm-hmm.
it actually was okay.
Yeah. And did you also, were you the one to guess the weight also?
Yeah, pretty.
Okay,
I was
so-
pretty close.
So do you remember what it was for the sample size?
No, I actually got it wrong because I went over. It's insanely light. This is
167 grams. I
which
think
was
I
like
remember that.
5 point something ounces,
Yeah.
and it does feel light.
It does feel light. Like, yeah.
that's 5.8 ounces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's 2 foams in it. I
Yeah.
think I guessed the foams. Another thing they said when we were there talking about the KD900 KD900X LAB that they had designed it. Their athletes said it was like a 10K half marathon shoe.
Right.
But all of us who ran in it and even Kafuzi, we were talking about like it feels like a marathon shoe.
Yeah, I mean the stack is definitely there. Like 39 mils, like that's like I don't see why you would. There's plenty of cush. It feels good. It's very light.
I don't understand why their athletes were saying it wouldn't be marathon distance.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's not as much support in the upper or something or whatever.
I don't know. I would definitely consider it.
I would consider it too.
It's got a PIBA core, and then it was a expanded TPU or supercritical TPU.
Yeah.
Kind of core like rimming core setup. So you have the PIBA and the other foam there.
Yeah.
And they really work well together.
Yeah. So we got the shoe, we got the whole briefing. They gave us like the whole presentation and everything. And then after that, we went down to the Rift Valley and we decided to wear these.
One other thing I wanted to say about the shoe.
Okay.
This got me real excited. So we got up one morning for a 4 a.m. At 4 a.m. to go for a run. And so it was dark out. The tip of this shoe is glow in the dark.
Yeah.
What?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting in the van. I'm like looking down. I'm like, what is that? It's the tip of my shoe. Just the tip too. It's like the rest of it doesn't just here. You see that little nubbin?
It really glows in the dark.
Like amazing glow in the dark.
I didn't notice it, but I was also very tired at that
Okay,
moment.
I'm
so.
also wondering how tired T was that he
there was
noticed it's glowing.
Did you
in
drink the
dark.
water, dude? Did you drink the water?
There was a lot of times though where like I would like just read the van, and there's times where like people were tired, so you would be like, don't talk. Like there was quiet times, but then there was times where people were talking when you're like, don't you read the room? Like this
It's quiet time.
Shh. But yeah, so yeah, we took this after the presentation.
Yeah. We ate a little lunch and then we chilled for a bit and then we ended up going. Wait, no, didn't we go to town after that lunch?
When did we do the run?
Afterwards.
We
was
walked
later.
the town and then went for the
Yeah,
run?
yeah, because we took the shortcut back to the 42 house and then got changed and then went for the
Okay.
run. So we did. So we had lunch and then we walked to downtown. I guess downtown.
Downtown.
The main center, like the village center, because E10 is a village. I think they made sure to point that out. That like
it's not a town,
Eldoret.
it's a village.
Well, Nairobi is basically a really like that's like their New York City. It's like the capital of Kenya, and then Eldoret. They said it was a large city, or they said it was a small city, but E10 was a large village.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said it's important to make that distinction.
And so we're walking outside the 42 house.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, also gated.
Yeah.
And when you went outside that gate, they made sure they were watching you. But it's our first time out, and we see like a cow. We're like, oh, isn't this amazing? All of us, all these people with cameras, we're all, and
And
like
then you see
everybody's
like a
around.
million cows.
Meg, there's cows and goats everywhere.
Like yeah.
They probably
Like,
thought you were so
Well,
insane
it
taking
was funny.
photos.
I saw like one of the people who lived there like laughing at us, and they're probably like,
Stupid American.
they're like, look, they really like that cow.
Yeah. But yeah, we walked into like the center of town and we ended up walking all the way to where, if you know E10, there's on each side, there's the giant signs that says like,
Welcome to the home of the champions or something.
Oh yeah, I saw them, and you
Yeah.
can run under them or whatever.
yeah. So
So I decided when we got there, there was 2 roads on either side of it. And so I was with Ko. I was like, hey, let's try to just run down to the other road and get like a little segment going. And so we ran, and it was slightly downhill. And so we were moving pretty quick. We did like a 6-minute mile or something like that down. And so then I was like, come on, let's see if we can beat it. That way we can get a PR on the segment. You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm talking, it's like, it was 1/10 of a mile.
yeah.
So he didn't want to do it, but then Alex was like, I'll do it with you. So Alex and I ran it. We dropped it down to 5:20 something for that one, but it's 1/10 of a mile,
Yeah.
and it's slightly downhill. But I think, did I have this shoe? No, we had the
Just had the trainers on.
yeah.
Yeah, I got that on video, so that was pretty funny to watch.
It
Nice.
was fun to do too, because you're pretty gassed. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't, like, how rough was the air when we first got there.
Dude, yeah, you're basically sucking it through a straw. Like, it's just like so hard to like.
And because of that, I was like super nervous. So I didn't do any beer or anything on the flight out. I didn't do any beer when we got there.
I was really concerned. I was like, why isn't he drinking?
Because the
It's
last
free
time,
alcohol.
ill?
It's free
something wrong?
alcohol.
Like, I felt bad. I'm like, should I not be drinking? Is there
no,
something that I
it really comes down to when I went to Boulder, the one time with Asics. I don't know what it was, but that altitude hit me really bad, and I think because we were having drinks and stuff, I just didn't catch up. And so this time I was like, I'm not going to drink. Because I don't want to be gassed on all the runs.
Yeah.
And
I mean, a smart plan.
yeah, but what was really nice too is all of us kind of took it easy because it was so like I was, Ko's pretty strong runner, sub-3 marathoner, and he's like, nah, I'm feeling this, and he was nice enough for most of the runs to just run nice and easy, and we kept it like pretty tame.
Even when you got the race shoes out?
Yeah, Karl was a little bit more like, how you have a dog and it runs out ahead and circles back and, it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. Well, then, so we got back, we changed, and then we went for the run down at the Rift Valley. And we were wearing these shoes.
But we switched into these when we got down.
Yeah, so basically, they were planning to just drive us to the bottom where the Rift Valley starts. But we were all like, well, let's just get some extra Ks in. And so we ran from the 42
I like
house.
that you switched to Ks.
You gotta.
Yeah.
Because
That's what you're doing over there.
It was
You don't
when
run miles, you run Ks.
Well, it was weird when we were there. If you said mile, like I would say the mile time, and they automatically think you're talking about
Ks.
Ks. So
Yeah.
like when you're like, yeah, well, I don't know, we'll start off at a 9-minute mile, or 9. We'll start off in the 9s. The coach was like, woo.
15-minute miles?
Yeah, like what? Yeah. So make that distinction. But we ended up wearing the trainers first. The van got down to where the Rift Valley started. And basically we were on asphalt, like going down the road.
Yeah.
Once we got to where like the clay.
But let's talk about going down this road. First off, there's motorcycles that have like 10 feet of wood going, like
sticking out from the sides.
like they look like airplanes.
Yeah. Like
And
wings.
you're like, if that guy hits anything,
You're getting taken out.
Spilt. Yeah, just wasted.
So you're running down, and like the traffic there is different. Like there's not like stop signs or
No stop signs, no yields, no traffic lights.
It's just
all
kinda
you
like-
honk at the person to let them know that you're there,
Yeah.
and then you either overtake them or you sit behind them, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the way
And
they
I
drive.
didn't understand how they decided which they were going to do.
Yeah, and you're also on, for us, the wrong side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
They're driving on the right. Like,
And people were doing stuff like if they saw someone they knew, they would just T-bone, like come up to the car and just slide right in front of it, like pull their driver's side up in front of like the windshield. So I'm trying, like, how can I describe this? Like I'm saying, like if this is a car and someone would pull up and just be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
and then like take off.
Yeah.
Like there was no rules
Yeah.
whatsoever. So
No.
we're running down this road.
this, pretty steep downhill.
I'm surprised the PR team wasn't like, no, you're not.
They were
ran,
with us.
They were with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the van was like behind us, basically, or it was only like what would you say? It was like what, a K, 1 or 2 Ks,
It was almost. I think it was almost.
almost 3K.
Yeah, I would say it was closer. It was almost like a mile and a half.
Yeah, it felt pretty good because you're going downhill.
Yeah.
and you saw the mountains. It was very beautiful scenery.
It's insanely beautiful.
Yeah, and it was also like that time of day when like the sun's getting lower, so it's like you just have that nice later afternoon light, and you have like kids coming out like just saying hi to you.
Oh, that's the other crazy thing. Like people are so friendly.
Oh, dude, yeah, Kenyans, man, they're so friendly. Like just the kids like in the yard, they'll look when you're running, they just hi.
Hi.
Yeah, they run up to you, they'll run with you.
I don't know how they knew we weren't from there, but they knew.
Gee, I wonder what gave it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so the van met us like at where the Rift Valley Road started, and we changed into the shoe here, and
KD900.
KD900X LAB, and
X LAB.
and then we did. It was we did like. How long did we go out before we turned around? Because they said basically like this goes on for a while, but it gets really uphill at a certain point.
They're like, our guys, first off, they don't understand what flat means there. So their flat just means,
Rolling.
yeah, like rolling,
Undulating, rolling.
but they're usually long rollers. So like you're uphill for a while, you're downhill for a while.
yeah.
And then they're like, and then our athletes get to a certain point, and this is where the climb really starts and gets difficult. So we were going to just run to where the climb starts.
Yeah, and then turn around.
And I'm telling you, it was hilly, but this was the better direction to be going. So, because there was like more like short bursts of uphill, longer downhills.
Longer downhills, and you could build like a pace, basically. Like you could go pretty steady. I was like, dude, these shoes feel great. Like off the bat, I'm like, they're light, they're bouncy. Like, so I ended up kind of at the beginning, kind of going out a little ahead of everyone. And I look at my watch.
I could also tell when you get tired because all of a sudden you see him like look back.
Well, I didn't know where I was going,
Oh.
so I'm like, where the hell is everyone? I don't want to keep. I know it's one road.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't
there's
want
no
to, but I'm also just like, I don't want to be like too far out. Where
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know where everyone is. But I was dropping the hammer, 6-minute miles.
Yeah.
But I didn't run a full mile that way. But
Which is ridiculous because like this was a rocky dirt
yeah,
road. Like I didn't want to look up at my watch. I didn't want to look at the scenery because I was worried that if I took my eyes off the road for 1 minute, my ankle would be trash. And then that's when I thought of Robbie.
yeah, we were like, there's no way Robbie would.
We wouldn't have survived this trip.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But it was that kind of conditions where, you know, when you're running and you're like, I can't look up because of like the obstacles.
Oh,
Yeah, this was one of those.
Yeah. I didn't even want to like look at my watch to see how far we were going. Like I was just like,
just keep.
We
going.
kind of just ran till they said stop.
yeah.
And then we just turned around. And I think in total I did like 7.5 or something
K or
miles.
Miles,
Like
okay,
miles.
yeah.
Because I think the original plan was to do a 10K. I think that's what they said in the
yeah, I don't
program.
remember. I think I finished it at 10K. I think I was like, I'm just doing 10K. They said 10K.
No, we went out for a little bit because you just kept
I
saying
did?
like, oh, there's another downhill. There's another downhill. Let's just
Okay.
go. Let's just go.
Yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Didn't
So-
you have to turn around?
Well, we did
Well,
at
we
the
did turn
halfway.
around.
Yeah, and everyone did. And the van ended up turning around as well.
But this is foreshadowing because in this particular time, I decided when I was done that I'm going to get like on the van and ride it out. And some people decided they were going to keep running. So the van slowly followed, and sometimes it was up side by side with some of the runners and just slowly followed them down the road. And you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. You get to, you know, at some points I was like, maybe I should get out again and run because we're going the same pace as the runners again.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, no, this is fine, whatever. So it was kind of nice to have the van and you could film on your phone or, you know, put some of the other runners out there. You could kind of get some moving footage, which was good.
Yeah.
But later on, we'd find out that's not always the case. And but for this run, we finished up. Some of the people, Alex
Dude, Alex.
and Lisa,
Lisa,
who's
fashion
a
jogger.
fashion jogger, and her husband, poor Fabio.
Yeah.
They decide they're going to run all the way back
to 42 house.
to 42 House.
So they wanted to go back up that hill that
Oh,
we like.
jeez.
And Meg,
road.
this is like a gnarly hill.
Yeah.
Like
I think our van was struggling to
Yeah.
even get up. Like he was
like
shifting and
yeah, well, he had to keep it in low gear to
Yeah.
follow them. But
yeah.
it like there's no like it makes Gun Road look
Child's
like
play.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and they ran all the way up and all the way back.
Wow.
Yeah. So and we were following them and it was pretty. That was pretty intense.
So yeah, we get back to the house, the 42 house, and Co is like, all right, hangs for a little bit, but then they're gonna have to go.
So it was Lisa and Fabio and Co. They went back to the hotel that night.
Alex,
Julius, and me and Thomas stayed for that night.
yeah.
So we were all sweaty. We are like, let's take a shower. And how long would you say your shower lasted?
Dude, as short as I could make it.
This was the shortest shower I've ever taken in human history.
Not like your long shower.
No. Couldn't take a long shower in a long shower. Like,
Well, we also didn't figure some stuff out. We couldn't figure out how to turn the water hot. Like there was supposed to be some knob that we were supposed to be
So
able
you
to
took a
turn.
cold shower.
I mean, cold in Kenya was like lukewarm. Like it was like room temperature water.
but it makes sense. It's so hot there that like, why would
Yeah.
they want hot water?
Yeah.
But the shower is basically like a hose with a shower head on the end of it.
Yeah.
And so real quickly, just rinsed off,
Just get the sweat off.
went up for dinner.
Yeah.
What did we have for dinner the first night?
So we had ugali, which if you're familiar runners in Kenya, that's like the main source of carbs that they take. It's basically
Grits.
Yeah, it's basically like corn, but it's like, it's like grits. It has like the consistency of grits. We had that. They had some like, they said it wasn't spinach, but I'm like, what is this? It's like, it was a green vegetable.
It was greens.
Yeah.
Whatever the greens were.
Yeah. And then we had eggs and like they had like some tomatoes, I guess, in there.
Yeah.
And then they also had the fermented milk.
When did we have the lentils? Because I like that. Was that for lunch?
That was for lunch
Okay.
earlier that day.
That was probably my favorite thing
The lentils were good.
that we had there
Yeah.
was a plate of lentils.
Yeah, those were good. But that was dinner, and then just retiring back to the room for the night. And yeah,
Yeah, it was funny because Co told me later when he stayed at the house the next night that he said I couldn't do this. It was too isolated. It was too sort of like too quiet, and it wasn't social at all. Like everybody just goes to their room and kind of like shuts down for the evening.
yeah, and yeah. So I mean, I could see that for sure. Like, I mean, I'm gonna bring it up again. Yes, we stayed in the same room. Oh, Meg, you're gonna love this. As we're getting ready for bed, Thomas is like, Meg hates this guided meditation, and since she's not here, I'm gonna put it on. And so
I said, would you mind?
which I was like, fine, that's fine with me. So he has that on, and then it starts raining, like absolutely downpouring, and it's loud. It's like, but it's funny because we were like, oh yeah, people like back at home would normally download this
Canyon Rain,
and it's like have that, but we have the authentic experience, and then he's got this guided meditation going.
This was the only time.
Did you like the guided meditation?
I actually did. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And at one point, this is the only time I felt like I missed opportunity. I wanted to touch the rains down in Africa.
I know we were singing it. We were singing it.
I'm like, I was already in bed. I'm like, I'm not putting on my jacket and going out and standing in the rain just for a video opportunity.
Wait, I'm now realizing I said the one thing you had to do is make a reel and use that song.
There's things I asked for that you don't do.
I'm not getting involved in this, ladies and gents.
Jeez.
But yeah, that was.
I mean, there's still time. I mean, we haven't put the final videos together.
Yeah, we could make something up.
Maybe the reel to promote the video
Has
of
to
the
be.
recap.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was day 2, right?
Yeah.
So day 3, which was what, Friday?
So wait, before we get there, because we were sleeping in, and I had told Alex that maybe I would join him for an early morning run. Carl's like, absolutely not. And
I was like, yeah, count me out.
because we had to get up at like 5 something.
Yeah.
5:15, because they start their runs really early.
Sure.
So I was like, I don't want to miss an opportunity. I think I still had FOMO from you and Robbie doing the run in Venice. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll hate myself if I don't do it. I got to get miles anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'll get up and do it. But all night I was worried because to get from the 42 house to the road, it's like this really steep hill and rocky and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm going to be struggling. It's going to be embarrassing. It's just going to suck. Geez, I'm going to, these Kenyans are going to be laughing at me as they go up the hill, and I'm like dying even before the run starts. I'm like, shit, do I really want to do this? And I was almost like going to bail. So we get to the gate in the morning, and it's fun because like I get to watch Alex doing his video stuff, and they're doing all the like, okay, setting up the camera, he's walking out of his belly, that kind of stuff. Like, oh, it's just natural. I normally just walk out this way. But we get to the gate, and they're like, I'm like, we got to run up this hill? And she's like, no. We walk up to the top and then start to run on the road. And immediately I was like,
Instant relief.
all right, I got this. But you're still nervous because you're starting to run with Kenyans.
Yeah.
And we get up to the top of the road. It's all like pros. Like everybody there is like, you can tell what brand is supporting them. They've got the, the jackets on and the different stuff. And that's the other thing. It was 50 something degrees. So I'm out there in my shorts and t-shirt, ready to go.
They're all in pants and jackets.
Jackets,
Yeah.
tights, like gloves, like knit hats. And I'm just like, they're like, Nelvin walked me up and she's like, aren't you cold? I'm like, this is like summer compared to where we're living right now. And I said, it feels great. She's like, oh, this is freezing. So just
another
what you
thing.
get used
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
But so Alex was nice enough to run with me. So I told you we had motorcycles that follow us. Julio,
Julius.
Jeez, I don't know why I don't want to commit the name to memory. I started calling him Juice when we were there, but Orange Julius. When we were there, they had a motorcycle, and he went backwards on it and had like a camera with a gimbal, and he films Alex like nonstop. Like we do like short bursts of video every once in a while.
Yeah.
But this was like cameras rolling 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like I was with Alex for 10K because we didn't do an out and back. We just ran with the group. And when I hit 10K, I was like, I'm done. So the whole time, Julio.
You're doing that on purpose.
Yeah, that time I did, just to see your face. Julius was on there, and he's filming him the whole time. And every once in a while, I would zoom up and get some of the pros running.
Yeah.
You okay, Meg? We got some of this, I guess. But anyway, so we get up there, and I run with him, and then he runs back. And so I thought, okay, my running's pretty much done for the day.
Yeah. So they got back around, 7:30-ish, like around then.
Mm-hmm.
I was already up, and I was actually kind of a little jealous. I'm like, oh, damn. I'm like, maybe I should have gone for a run. But you guys came back. We had breakfast. Everyone else came. They got there a little bit later. We were supposed to be out by 8 a.m., but they didn't get there till 8:30, and we still had to have breakfast. So
when he says the other people like Co
come back from the hotel.
Everyone who didn't stay at the house.
Exactly. To begin, what our itinerary said was Kenyan immersion. So we didn't really know. We knew that we were going to visit a school that Kiprun helps.
Yeah.
Like not fun, but like they
support
support
the
them.
school.
And some other stuff, but we were never really told the whole day like what we were going to be doing.
Also, like I knew that we were going to do a little run with the school. Like there's another thing, we'll get into this, the Shoe for Africa. We were going to do a little thing at the school where we would run a short run there. So I'm in my clothes that I ran
His run-in.
the run-in.
Morning.
And I haven't showered or anything, but I'm like, I'll shower afterwards, if we're going to go do this.
All right, we want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Michael BONSBY HVAC, part of the Zephyr Home Services family based right here in Maryland.
They got us chilling.
Yeah, they came out and helped us with our system recently, and they were absolutely amazing. We've had not the best experiences with HVACs in the past year, and so it was lovely to have them come out and fix everything, and now we have a wonderful home.
We're like living the dream.
Yeah, and if you need a new system or you need it to be checked up or anything like that, they're offering our listeners $50 off any service or install, so just mention Believe in the Run when you book.
So we leave to go to visit this school, St. Patrick's, and it was, first off, like, again, you think that, like, be thankful for what you have. We get there, and this school it's been around, I mean, since the 60s or 70s?
Yeah, it's been around for decades, and this is the school where basically, like, all the pros, like, went to school and trained as a kid.
Like, it basically has a museum that we went and started the tour in.
Yeah.
That has, like, all the records of all the people that have run through there.
Yeah.
And it's just insane.
Yeah.
So this is only the boys' school.
Yeah.
And there's a sister girls' school that also kills it. And
Yeah.
brother...
Colm O'Connell.
Yeah. Brother Colm O'Connell has, like, kind of brought the running culture into this thing. He said that people were running before, but they really didn't have it organized in a way.
When you Google his name, it comes up as the godfather of Kenyan running.
That's what they called him, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and he does not look like what you'd expect. First off, he's white. And two,
well, he's Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish, and he doesn't have a runner's physique. But he said he knew nothing about coaching. He'd done a little soccer coaching, and he said he just knew, like, to encourage people, to make people a better person, made them a better athlete.
Yeah.
So he really grew the sport from there.
Yeah. And so we got a tour of this school, and, like, yeah, Tom, like, I think it looked a lot more, like, eerily decrepit But because it was, I think a good part of that was like school was closed. Like there were no kids there.
It was holiday.
It was holiday, so like
okay.
I probably would have felt more lively if there were kids running around the yard and like stuff like that.
Instead, it was like a ghost town. Like you were seeing a museum of like a school.
Yeah, and it's like no one's there. There was like maybe a few staff members. We went to the kitchen. There were a couple students there volunteering, but like everywhere else was empty. So seeing the classrooms, seeing like they have dormitories there. Yeah, it was just like the school itself was just like crazy to think like see.
Yeah, and he gave the coach gave a nice little overview of like everything, which you have some footage of. So
Yeah.
you know, you watch the recap and you can.
I was going to say
Yeah.
we should tell
See
everyone
it.
there will be a recap.
There will be a recap. It'll take a little while because it's going to be,
Yeah,
But
it's a lot.
it's a lot. But I wanna
As you
make it
can
really
tell from this rambling that we have.
yeah, yeah, we're trying to tighten it up. But
yeah, then we left that and went to Shoe for Africa
Africa.
and met Toby. What's Toby's last name?
if you look up Shoot for Africa, you'll see. But this guy, you remember his story?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Do you want to explain?
Let me
it?
pull up.
Yeah.
Toby Tanser.
Yeah. So we met Toby Tanser, who, funny enough, used to be on the New York Roadrunners board. And now he was in Africa. And I don't know when in his life he was in Africa for this, but he had just gotten a new pair of shoes or something. And he went for a run on the beach and he took the shoes off. When he came back, two people were stealing his shoes. So he chased them down and he grabbed one of them, but they had a machete and they hit him in the head with it. And then somehow it seemed like he wrestled the machete away from them. And he had one of his shoes and the machete. And he's like, give us the shoe. And they're like, give us the machete. And he's like, no, give me my shoe. But anyway, he kind of like at that point was a tourist, but then saw how the medical system worked there as they were cleaning him up and just kind of like realized that there was a mission here for himself, and kind of also he loves the country and decided that he would like help out. But it's kind of weird because, you know, most people try to go through channels and boards and create a foundation or something like that. And then they start helping. He was just like, oh, they need this. Oh, I can get some money and do this. And oh, they have bad medical for children.
Let's build a children's hospital.
Yeah, I'll build a children's hospital. Yeah. Oh, they don't eat? They don't have any food in the morning?
Well, we'll start cooking and giving kids food before they go to school as they're walking.
It's just insane the energy this guy has for doing this.
Yeah, and
That's
along
so
with along with the food thing, he was like, yeah, he's like, I bought like a chicken coop, and he's like raising chickens to lay eggs because he's like, I don't want to have like an intermediary. He's like, he wants to be self-sufficient.
Yeah. Everything
is done there, so he knows like the food's coming from there and stuff. So I mean, it's just like pretty incredible when you think about what he's doing.
Yeah, and it just was inspiring to see. And then the kids, like this was probably, I don't know about you, but this is one of the highlights.
I think this was the highlight for me. Yeah, and so Shoot for Africa, like the kids were there, and they basically, it's a lot of sports, a lot of recreation.
There's tutoring, there's help, they are doing educational stuff.
Yeah.
For like more like what we call like what's those classes that you took to learn how to home ec. It's like a home ec.
Their mission statement is advancing Africa, building hospitals, healthcare, education, and empowerment.
Yeah, basically.
Which when I first saw the name Shoe for Africa, I thought they would be giving shoes.
Yeah, that was like a donation thing for shoes, but it turns out it was just the name for the story,
For
like the origin of Shoe for Africa.
Of Toby.
Yeah.
And Toby's wife, like she was, I guess, helping him, but she also does a lot of fundraising and stuff. They go to New York to fundraise.
Yeah.
And apparently she's Eliud Kipchoge's cousin, and she's pretty well.
Casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just dropped that, and I'm like, is that a joke? And I don't think it was.
No,
So,
it's not. It's
she's legit.
But they brought us outside with the kids.
They're like, we're gonna go for a run. So this was the run that we were mentioning earlier. It's like, all right, well, we'll go for a run. I figured because they have like a whole field there. There's like a dirt track, and I had thought it's like, all right, we're probably just gonna do some like
Photo op run.
Yeah, like just chase them around a little bit, like just do a little bit of that. So
I mean,
But-
these are kids, right?
Here's one time where I was maybe smarter than Karl.
Yeah.
I sized up the kids, and I'm like, these little ones over here look pretty fun to run with.
So what they did was they divided. We did like a warm up session, and I mean there were a lot of kids, right?
Yeah.
How many kids would you say? Like 50 to 100, right? Like,
Yeah.
in that range. And we did a little warm up drills or whatever. And then they were like, okay, divide into groups. And they lined up single file. And I think there was like 3 different lines. I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to go with whatever group. So like wherever Co was, I kind of just like joined up with him. Alex was there too, and Julius. And then I think you were in like another group.
I looked at the little fellas and I was like, I'm with this group.
And so at this point too, so we're lining up to go for this run, and I still have no idea what we're doing.
Meanwhile, when I say little fellas, like nobody was taller than our shoulders, but there was a definite difference between the kids that I was with were like 12.
Yes, they were like middle school kids to some early high school kids. I think that was like the range that was there.
Yeah. So they started their run, and everyone in Kenya starts off at a very nice, easy pace.
I think we were going
warm up.
Yeah, like 10-minute miles, maybe even slower than that.
And I'm running with the little guys, and I have Fashion Jogger and Pauline and Josephine from PR Presence. And we're jogging along, and I'm loving it. I think it's a great little pace. We're going slightly downhill. We basically do a square. So we go out, down, back up. And I'm like, wow, we're running further than I thought we would. And on the way back, I'm like, it's uphill a little bit. This is a little bit of a grind. And then we got to the area where he said he saw the dirt track that he thought we'd be running. We ran that, and then there was like a steep hill. And all the kids just like took off on the steep hill, like they're like dropping the hammer.
Sprinted up that.
And we're all like, all of us, including like Lisa, who's a pretty strong runner, we're all like, whoa, that last little bit, they whipped it up. And we're thinking, wow. But Karl's group isn't back yet.
Yeah, so let me walk you through what we did, because it was not that.
And we did a mile and a half.
Yeah. We ran a 5K, and it was hard. It was a lot. It was probably the hardest run that I've done.
Getting dropped by 12-year-olds.
Dude, we were all like, I felt bad for Alex because he did the run earlier and he ran more than you in the morning. He did like 18K. Right? Didn't he do?
Like, I don't recall. He did.
He did
so
something longer.
He left. We parted, and I think he did like 3 more miles.
Okay. Yeah. But either way, he was like in the back, and I could tell he was like struggling too, especially like some of the uphills. I don't know the course you described it, but I don't know where that was in relation to us. So I think we must have gone off in a different direction. There was also a front group of kids who the coach was on a motorcycle and basically punished these kids because they were pushing the pace, and she told them not to.
Oh.
So she sent them to the back of the group. Because at this point now we're going like low 9s, high 8s, but like just whatever route that we took, like the uphill, downhill, like it was rough.
Yeah, the hills are insane.
It was absolutely rough. Like Co's in front of me, like the back of his shirt just drenched. Like Alex is in the back, just like chugging along. Julius is there too. I'm just like,
what I liked about the whole group, and we'll get to the thing, but the whole group, everybody was like honest about their effort. Nobody was like, oh, this is easy running.
Trying to show off or anything. Yeah.
And it like 8:30s, 7s were like fast.
Yeah.
And people were like, everybody
Gas,
was humble about it. Like,
yeah. So we're running, and they actually ended cutting like the route short. Like we ended up turning into like a farm, like whatever, and like just taking that road all the way down. And it ended up being exactly like 5K. But it was like a slight uphill going back to like the Shoot for Africa like campus, and that basically murdered me.
So I'm standing there. I see Co come back, and he's like doing that kind of running where like it's like
exhaustion.
Yeah.
No form.
Yeah, they're just flopping. The arms are flailing.
Yeah.
Karl comes up. He's like hands on the knees, bent over, like I thought he was going to throw up.
Yeah, I am gasping. I can't talk. My mouth is dry. I'm like, and then I look at these kids, and none of them are sweating. They're wearing long sleeves and pants.
They were making fun of people sweating.
Oh yeah, they like looked at us. They were like, "What's going on here?" And I'm just like drenched. I'm just like, "What's going on with you?" I'm like, "Why are you?"
They
not
were pointing
sweating?
at Co's back. And
Yeah.
like showing, like telling each other, "Hey, look, they guys got sweat all over."
Yeah.
Like they'd never seen sweat before.
I know. And I'm just like, and then like we were talking about this, like the way that they just bounce together, like in the group.
It's synchronized.
Yeah, and it's just like so natural. Like they weren't trying. It was just so like. And then like we're just like, ugh, and we look so ugly running. And I'm just like, this is crazy, dude. Like these kids are like 9 to 12 years old, and yeah.
Well, no, yours were a little bit older because that's the other thing. I don't
14.
know if it's they're smaller than I expected. Like so, when I was with them, I thought they were probably like 8 or 9, and you know, I asked them how old they were. They were like 12, and that's when I pulled out my phone to show them my 13-year-old. It's like, yeah, back in America.
Yeah.
But the run was like I was tired at the 1.5 after running in the morning, and you guys looked just destroyed.
Yeah. So that was kind of rough. But that was cool. We did, you know, took some photos afterwards, and then we went out, got lunch.
And here's where I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'll change my clothes or get a chance to.
You were terribly wrong.
Rinse off. We get to lunch, we have lunch, and then they're like, okay, we have our surprise for you.
Yeah. So in the itinerary, it said blocked off from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. was surprise activity.
I was convinced you guys were going on a safari.
So
That's
was
what
I.
we all thought that was the case.
But apparently that would have taken, so the good safaris are down by Nairobi. So that's a 3-hour drive or hour flight.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're not doing that.
Yeah. So we got back in the van and we ended up driving for about an hour, but we went down like the mountain or whatever, and we got to some flatter areas, which they warned us was going to be hot.
Dude, that was a different kind of heat.
Yeah. You see this burn? I think that's a burn mark from like.
Is it?
Yeah.
You stood too close to a window or something?
I don't know, dude. Just standing out there on the roadside. just like,
Me, as soon as we got out of the van, I just found shade. I was like, I got to go find some shade. So
Yeah.
I'm like standing behind. And this was the only place where it got like, they sell mangoes and honey. And we were like surrounded, like every time they're like,
well, they see a bus full of people.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to be trying to peddle that, like, you know, because I think they have to.
Yeah.
But this area, and it was like kind of like, they had signs saying it was like a resort thing. It was basically like a river, and that river runs. They said it's like one of the longest running rivers in Africa. I think it goes all the way to like Ethiopia. I think they said there's crocodiles there, so we saw like a crocodile, and then they had like these guys basically dive.
one dude
cliff
lost his
diving.
leg
Yeah,
and was still diving.
yeah.
I was like, while you were there?
No,
No, but like,
he was already gone.
yeah. But it was like 4 or 5 guys, and they were cliff diving. It was like 50 meters.
So but they told us to bring swimsuits. So I'm thinking, we're going to get a chance to go in the water. So Zach and there's this like platform that's about, 50 feet above the water. And I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And Zach was like, I'll do it if you do it. And so we were like thinking maybe we get a chance, but no, we get to watch other people jump in
And
the
then
water.
you couldn't do it?
No.
But then-
I'm thinking that they probably insurance-wise,
Yeah.
It's also the water there. It's like,
it's probably not the smartest thing for us to be jumping into.
yeah. And I think like we were supposed to spend more time down there, but I think collectively
We were like, we're dying.
yeah, like we were sweating. We don't have water. Like we were like just like at this point really getting pretty exhausted. So we were only there for about like 25 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, but what was crazy is so up in E10, it was cool and nice. And
I mean, it was warm,
even-
but like it
yeah.
was breezy. Like you had some
Down
cold-
there, it was just
scorching.
Yeah, I can't even describe the heat. It felt like the sun was shooting through you.
Yeah.
And
I imagine it's what hell feels like.
yeah,
That good, huh?
Yeah. It's like if Satan had his red light just like
It's on you.
Yeah.
like we were under like a magnifying glass. Somebody was burning in.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it felt like. And it's God's magnifying glass, just all honest. And I'm just like, okay, this is like pretty rough.
So we watched these guys jump in the water a few times,
Yeah.
and then we get back in the van.
I'm assuming you filmed all this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the footage looks pretty cool. So I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not mad that we went there. I think it was still a cool thing. It was a little odd because we ended up driving half an hour back up the mountain. And
An hour back up the mountain.
was it a full hour? I can't remember.
Yeah,
It was pretty, yeah. Well, we did take a quick stop because we got pulled over. Like, not we got pulled over, but they pulled us over on the side, and they were just like, "All right, everyone out of the van. We're going for a hike."
Halfway up the mountain?
So
Yeah, it was like we.
Amos is. I love this guy.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention him. Yeah,
Amos is like the mayor of E10. Like
Yeah.
everybody knew him.
shout out Amos.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
and he just has a personality that you instantly love. Like he was just the greatest.
He was our tour guide, basically.
So when he was taking us though, I'm pretty tired after the heat. I've been going. You realize I got up at 5:15. I'm out
did
of my
2
time.
runs.
I'm out of my time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing these runs. We're standing around. We're walking through the schools. Like I've been on
Yeah.
my feet all day.
Yeah.
And then the laser light and the diving. I'm like, I just get me back. And it also like close to like 6 o'clock already.
Yeah, it was like 5 something at this time. And we knew that we were going to go back to Eldoret that night too. So
Yes.
it's like we had a whole...
There's a long
Yeah.
time still left in the day.
Yeah.
So we stop and he gets out and he looks at me because I'm in the seat right there. And I look at him and I don't move. And I just kind of like give him that face like, don't make me do this. And
he just starts
laughs.
laughing.
He just like opens the door of the van. And I get out. He's like, come on, bud.
And he was like, oh, it's going to be a quick one. It'll be like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like from where he's like, we're just going to go up the ridge and over and then we'll have the van pick us up. And he's like, yeah, it'll be like an hour and a half.
So my experience with Karl is he really doesn't like hikes, especially uphill.
No, it's down. Like really, it's like
Oh,
steep
the
downhills.
downhills?
It's like that,
Okay.
like that stuff. Like I just don't have good footing. Like I'm just like I'm not trained on that type of terrain.
So we started hiking and it's straight up.
Yeah,
And
straight up.
this is the only time where I've been like, oh, doing my squats and deadlifts and stuff. I think it is helping because like I felt pretty strong going up
Yeah.
the mountain.
Yeah, I was just dehydrated and getting hungry at that point.
And we also had shoes that had zero traction.
These are road shoes, yeah, and so we're hiking.
They were like slick bottoms.
yeah, very slick bottoms, and we no grip, and we are just climbing this freaking mountain, and we get to a waterfall, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, but it had like a 200-foot drop.
So they were like,
yeah,
so they were like, let's go down to the waterfall, and like we're just looking, and we see like just the steepness, and Thomas is like, we have to come back up that. And so, like, I think me, Alex, and him, and who else? We decided not to go.
Lisa didn't go. Josephine didn't go.
Yeah, but everyone else did. And they got in the water. Like, we saw them from where we were.
And the waterfall was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
But apparently it had very jagged rocks.
it's like slippery, jagged rocks. So it's like, even when you were in the water, you still had to be very careful.
Yeah. So they made it back up, but like Fabio slipped and got covered in
He
mud.
was covered, like the GoPro that he was holding
Yeah.
got covered in mud. I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't go.
I was so happy I didn't go down.
Yeah.
And then we tried to find, so there's some monkeys in these trees that you could see. So we ended up seeing one. I have to say, Josephine had like eagle eyes. That she saw the giraffe first. She saw the
I did, yeah. I was-
monkey. And like, I was lucky I was standing next to her because she pointed and I saw him. But
Yeah.
other people are like looking up the tree and they're just seeing leaves shaking.
Yeah.
But we get out there, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go in the waterfall because when we got closer to another area where we had to cross jump over these rocks, I'm like, oh, this water isn't that clean.
Yeah, yeah. So like the hike was only like a mile and a half in total, but it did take like an hour and a half to
Yeah.
do the full thing.
And it started getting dark.
It was like 6:30 at that point. The clouds were coming in. It also started drizzling a little bit while we were hiking, which honestly was kind of nice.
I was gonna say after you're real hot,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty.
But I'm
nice.
But
also
I'm
like-
still in the clothes that I
Still in the clothes, and I'm like, we don't have headlamps. It's getting dark. And yeah, we still got to get back to the.
And they at this point they tell us we're going to eat at the 42 house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what time are we possibly getting back to Eldoret?
Yeah.
And we have to get up. I already knew this. We had to get up at 4:15
The next
next
morning.
day. So like when I'm standing in the hot heat down by the river and the people are doing the dive, I'm like, I got to get up at 4:15.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
tired
what are we
right
doing?
now.
Yeah,
So like I was kind of getting a little bit.
little Aggie.
But here's what I want to say. I had in hindsight, I had a great time and
Fantastic.
loved everything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, but I was.
It was
like,
just more in the moment and more that we didn't really know what was happening at the time. So like we didn't know how to plan. Like for me, I'm like cameras. I'm like, I brought the whole camera rig up that mountain. I'm just like, why?
yeah, he's blocking with the video camera
and
his
my photo
personal
camera, and I'm just like, dude, this is kind of hard. But so we get back, we go to 42 house, drop everyone off, and then they told us at 42 house we're actually gonna eat at the hotel, and I was
Yeah.
like, yes.
And this is when Co was like, I felt kind of sad when you guys left because I just felt alone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I was like, sorry, dude.
Poor
Like,
Co.
Yeah. So we got back to the hotel. We had dinner.
Then we had the beers.
Tusker beer. Shout out Tusker Loggers from East Africa.
So I hadn't drank the entire time we're there, but this day being that hot, everything I was just like,
We deserve it,
I
dude.
need a beer.
Yeah.
And we ordered pizzas for dinner, and that first Tusker beer, I almost gulped it down in one
dude,
sip. It was
me
just
too.
cold, crisp, and just
Everything you wanted.
Yeah, it was like
and
perfect.
then like Josephine and Pauline ordered a beer too. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's like we're all like just chilling now at this point. And yeah, so that basically wrapped up day 3.
Yeah, I took the longest shower before bed.
Oh, dude, that shower was
In your long
so
shower?
good. No, because I didn't get the business.
No, we got new rooms.
New rooms. So and that was the thing. Like we had to check back in. Like
Yeah.
that was just like a whole process. And so it was like,
It was a long day knowing that you had your biggest run coming up and
The next morning.
and you had to get it. Like we need to be in the lobby at 5, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause we
that's
need
what
to
they told
be
us.
At Moyben Road at 5:45.
right, because the run was going to go off at 6. So I got decent sleep. I woke up feeling like relatively fine. Yeah. I know you were tired from at the beginning.
Yeah.
I felt kind of okay, which made me realize I was so glad I didn't run with you the previous morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, we basically got to Moyben Road, which if you don't know, Moyben Road is the famous long road down there that basically every athlete does their long runs in during the weekend.
But what's crazy is this is what I thought was interesting. We're obsessed with, distance and Strava and recording.
Yeah.
Really where the run starts, they do their warm up. So there's 2 phases to the warm up. They start running really easy and then they do their exercises and then they run.
Yeah.
So the first run down to the start line was 2 miles.
Yeah, it's 3K.
And it was a nice, easy jog, which turned out to be like an 8:30 pace.
It was an 8:30 pace. But when you're with people,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
But
fun.
still, you're like thinking, okay, this isn't the run. This is just
This is just a warm up.
warm up.
Yeah.
So we get there and we do like calisthenic. Like they had like I think it was Nelvin again.
Yeah,
led
she was leading the
the
warm
warm
up.
Yeah, the warm up. And the warm up was exhausting.
That cooked me, man. Oh my god, I was like, I'm
You're
bad
jumping
shape.
on your toes. You're doing like
You're doing the
dance
swings,
kicks.
yeah.
and
You're doing the
stuff.
leg swings. You're doing like the knee high things,
Yeah.
and it's just like a lot. And then we did like a little prayer with the coach, and then the coach started assigning, all right, who's doing what distance? You're doing this pace, and like it was funny because I thought they were only going to tell that to their athletes, but they looked at us. They're like, "What do you do?" And like I'm just like, "Oh, like
Yeah, I'm
10K
gonna run
maybe."
that direction.
when I stop, I stop. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the coach was basically designating what the athletes had to do that day, and then we began and we got to start.
And again, they tell you this is pancake flat.
Yeah,
How many runners are there?
it was a decent group.
With us, there was probably like 15 or 20.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's like 20 groups out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You see Adidas, you see Nike, you saw like a bunch of like just big groups like running, and all the follow cars like that road is basically shut down on a Saturday morning strictly for their training.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to see.
And the cars are for safety or for like hydration?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were just handing the bottle, like they drive next to the athletes as they're running and just hand them bottles and stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you don't need pockets there. That's why when you see these elite shorts,
there's nothing.
They don't
Yeah,
need pockets.
They don't need anything. But then we started the run like on Moyben Road, and we were going, and it was basically everyone at that point basically split off. So I think it was just me, Thomas, and Co. for like the majority of it. And it was nice. Dude, we kept it pretty easy, just chill. The people passing us though,
Flying.
flying. Like
Yeah.
you don't know how fast. Like you see it on YouTube, you can look it up. But like you just never really know until like you're right there with them.
I felt like we were a jumbo jet and there's fighter planes shooting past us.
Yeah. Like you felt the vibrations like the like as they go by, and they're just like so like their legs, like their stride, and just like everything about
And they
it.
make it look easy.
They just make it look easy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not pancake flat. There's either kind of like long, slow uphills or long, slow downhills.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of undulating. So that's where it got weird for me because I was pretty exhausted from the day before, and I'm like, I don't know how long I want to run. So we get to 10K, and I was like gonna call it quits at 10K, but then we were like at the top of like a long, like you could look off in the distance, and you're like,
You
oh,
see
it's a long dip.
Yeah.
I'll at least
do that.
Let's just go, and then you're like, okay, well I'm already here. Let's just keep going. So Co and I ended up keep going, and I actually, knowing that I ended up with the travel and stuff, I only ended up with 37 miles for the week. If I had Co ended up running 3 more miles than me, and I was like, it would have been a good 40-mile week.
I stopped at 10K because I was like, I just want to get my camera and film. I'm like,
This is the foreshadowing from the van that I was telling you before.
Yeah. So I basically did 10K because I wanted to get back to the van and get the camera and start filming some of the pros that were running.
Like me and Co.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the van, like, I was told the van was going to be like behind us or like behind the last person.
Yes.
They also had motorcycles, 3 like motos for us.
Dude, the motorcycles are the best.
Dude, I like after that experience, I'd never want to run like with a handheld
I
again.
know.
Wait, you each individually had a motorcycle right next to you?
I mean,
They were in pack.
we had like 2 motorcycles with Co. and Karl.
Handing
and
you
myself.
water bottles?
They had
Yeah.
waters on the thing, so whenever we wanted water, they would just hand it to us.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's the life.
Of course, we stopped. We didn't have to, but like we
They're
stopped.
like, you don't need to stop. We're like, oh, man. Yeah, we
I'm gonna
do.
drink this water right here.
You want me to choke? You're
Yeah.
trying to get me to die out here?
Yeah. So yeah, we basically had that, and so I finished my 10K, and then I just got called one of the motos, and I hopped on the back, and they just drove all the way down the road.
And at this point, you think, oh, well, Thomas and Co. will be hopping on the, like you were going to send a motorcycle back.
Yeah, you told me to send a
Yeah,
moto back for you, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And so this is where we'll have like different stories, I guess, because they kept running. I went back to the van, and Pauline and Josephine were also in the van. So I got the camera out, and we're just like basically riding, like they're at this point, like it's pretty far into the run. So all the pros, whatever they're doing, they're on their own. So there's like a group that was doing the full 35K. Some were only doing 20K, and they were all doing them at different paces.
Okay.
So the van was basically just doing U-turns in the road. Like you'd go down one way, hand some athletes some bottles, they'd pull like a K-turn and then go down the other way and find the other group and just doing that over and over again.
So what I was expecting was if you went back to the van, like the first day, like what I was saying earlier, where we were at the Rift Valley, and the van kind of was like riding along with
Like following
the runners.
them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's what, and I'm assuming that's what you thought with the camera. You'd be
Sure,
like following
yeah.
people.
Right. In hindsight, I probably would have just given my backpack with the camera to one of the motos because I think that probably would have made more sense because they were the ones following.
That actually would have been a good one.
Yeah, but I thought the van was going to be with us, so I just left it in there. But it's, yeah, whatever, not that big of a deal. But you guys kept running. Like you said before, Co ended up doing like 13, and I believe
So
you got...
yeah, we just, you get there and there, like I got to the 10K and you look and there's a long road downhill, like slightly downhill. When I say slightly, like we're talking like 2% grade or so like that. So I'm just like, I'll just keep running to that because I was planning on trying to get around 8 miles a day in while I was on vacation, not vacation, but in Kenya. But I was like so tired from the day before. I was just like, well, maybe I'll just do a 10K. That sounds cool. Like it sounds better than, 6 miles or anything like that. It has a 10 in front of it. So I was like, but we got there and I'm like, all right, we're already at 6.2 and there's a slight downhill. Let's just keep going, Co. And he's like, okay. So we keep going. And then I'm like, well, might as well run to 8 because we're here, whatever, 8. That's the number my coach wanted me to try to get in every day. Then we got to 8 and I was like, so close to 10 and we're here on Moibin Road. All right, I'll run 10 miles. And even when I stopped at the end of 10 miles, I was like, Co was going to keep going. I was like, it kind of would be cool to do a half. But then I was also like, I am kind of tired. And I was just like, screw it. And I thought I would jump on the motorcycle and it would be like a 10-second ride and I'd be at the van. Because I think the whole thing, we were talking about it was like 32K. What's that?
It was a 35K run. I think they said you'd go down 17K or
And
something
then
and then
turn
turn
around.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't do Ks in my head. So I figured I got to be 10 miles. I got to be close to...
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I figured the van would just be lower. I was on that motorcycle for a long time. And I was like, when I was on the motorcycle, I was like, oh no, Karl must be going out of his mind.
Yeah. Well,
Were you?
well, yeah. I was like sitting in the van because I was it was basically at the point, like I said, where they were all split up. So it just, I was expecting to see like a nice big pack of
Yeah.
runners that I can get like really good footage of. And like, it was just a couple people here and there, like just very like disjointed. So I was like, shit, I kind of wish I stayed on the road and kept running.
Ideally, what would have been cool is if you could have done the Julius did from the back of a motorcycle.
Yeah, so he was able to get on the back of a moped and just like basically just like stay there the whole time. So I think probably if I knew this was the setup it was going to be, I probably just wouldn't have run at all. If I would have prioritized either getting the footage or doing the run. Like trying to do both, I think it kind of made it so like it wasn't what I was expecting basically. So like,
but like when I'm riding, I'm like, geez, like I did 4 miles.
Is that the reel we saw with you on the?
No,
back?
that was the first day that was that morning
run with
Alex.
Oh, okay.
Where I was like, I cut out a 10K. I was like, pace.
Yeah.
I got on the motorcycle and just chilled back in it. Yeah. That was amazing because like they're all wearing down jackets. It's 60 degrees out, and I'm like on the back of a motorcycle, sweaty t-shirt and fine. But no, so I'm like, okay, so we ran in probably another 35 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the van's got to be not too far away. Mm-hmm. So when we got on the motorcycle, it was a long distance. I was like, oh, poor Karl, he's probably stuck out on this road. I didn't know that you were doing some K-turns. I thought you were just, like, when I got there, I was like, this guy's been sitting out here with nothing going on.
Exactly.
And so I got there, and, it was, it is tough because you could have had the choice of filming and getting all the athletes or running and getting a good run in, and you kind of didn't get
either. So it's like I was trying to get best of both worlds, and it ended up like not being as much as I wanted for either one. So because like I'm running Boston, it's in a couple weeks, like 2 weeks at that point. So it's like I like tapering and whatnot. Like I was like I need to get like a solid run in. Also because I didn't do as many miles. I think last like the whole week I only had like 18 miles. So I was like, this is the time to get a good run in.
Yeah.
Like they had planned this for us. If we wanted to do 35, we could have, but like we basically had the option on this legendary road to go as long as we wanted. And knowing that we had like just water on motorcycles for us, like this was the best case like
Plus,
setup,
It's gorgeous. Like I really like. It was funny. Co and I were talking about how the more you travel, the more you realize the United States is so big. It has a lot of like. If you want to see that terrain, that's Napa Valley. So go to Napa Valley and you're in Kenya. It like that's what it looked like to me, and it was just beautiful, green.
We had great weather. The sun was like, it wasn't like too hot, it wasn't too cold. Like it was just a very good morning for like that kind of run. So so Thomas ended up coming back to the van, and I was like, oh dude, what'd you do? Like how long did you run? And you're like, oh, I did 10 miles. And he's like, Co's doing 13. And I'm just like, shit.
Yeah, you could see it on his face.
I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, damn. I'm like, well, I wanted to go out. I wanted to go out longer, but it was fine. It was whatever. And eventually, like, everyone else ended up. I think Fashion Jogger, she did like the full 35K.
Yeah.
And I think Tim from Presence PR.
I kind of feel bad for her husband because he does all her filming.
Yeah.
So like while Karl was like, I should have done one or the other. It wasn't like he did any filming of athletes other than
he just did.
He's just Lisa's video. Like if Kenyans ran by, I think keeps the
she's
camera.
got 2.5 million followers. I think she should be the focus.
Don't you want to see some Kenyans running?
She was running with some. I'm sure she was running with someone though. But she did. By the end of it, she was alone.
This episode is sponsored by SWIFTWICK. In celebration of the 129th running of the iconic Boston Marathon, performance sock brand SWIFTWICK and cult running culture newsletter Running Supply have teamed up to unveil a one-of-a-kind collection of vintage Boston Marathon apparel.
I've seen it. It's pretty cool.
So there will be over 40 pieces in the collection, some from Mark's collection, but mainly sourced from Kohl's, and there will be 3 separate drops on Monday the 14th, Wednesday the 16th, and Friday the 18th in the lead up to the Boston Marathon.
It's pretty sick because it has that real like authentic vintage look, like it's old shirts, old jacket styles. What's interesting about this collection, Meg, is you think of SWIFTWICK as socks and stuff and performance, but I think they're really moving into a different direction here where they're trying to really curate that run culture and kind of highlight some of the things that are special about running that, we've got all these new runners. They don't maybe know some of the vintage heritage and stuff like that. And SWIFTWICK's bringing it together with Running Supply, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so each of the 3 drops will be available exclusively on swiftwick.com, and you can sign up for their newsletter to be the first to know.
I kept thinking Meg I'm trying to figure out if Meg would have really enjoyed this opportunity. But I also see You probably would have been running with Lisa. Like you guys probably would have been running. I think you're slightly faster than her, but like, so you would, but even then, like with all the activities we did, I'm sure that you would have been happy to slow down. And
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been trying to race out there.
Yeah, and kudos to her, man. She was part of all the activities we did, and she still wanted to do a really long run.
Yeah.
So, and she stayed at the 42 house the night before that.
Yes.
So, like, we were lucky. We got the hotel, we had breakfast and stuff. So it's like, well, we had breakfast at 42 house actually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, like, she was basically the last person to get picked up. So Co had ended up running back to us. We got Tim. Tim did a pretty threw down the hammer too. He was running.
Yeah.
pretty long
Tim's
distance.
okay. So Tim is kind of interesting. He's almost like a Big Run Media where he was in finance and then he decided he wanted to focus on running. So he opened a PR company focused on running.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's a very similar story. But yeah, Tim was great, and Josephine and Pauline were awesome.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. So when we finished up and we're picking up everybody, all the pro athletes were there, and that's when I was telling you they were like the Kiprun team, the engineer and the shoe designer were there, and they're like pulling the shoes off the guys to look at them under their look at their footbed, look at their feet, look at the shoe, and it was kind of
They
crazy.
were working. Like they were on the clock. It's like they were doing their job.
And both those dudes were sick too. Like the day before, they ran the miles that Alex and I did, but they were able to pretty much hang with the Kenyans the whole time.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
So when you guys were talking about Moibin Road, in my mind it was like a dirt road. Like I was thinking of the
That-
road in Boulder.
Yeah.
That's
Like
what my
Mags.
mind went to. Mags, but this is a paved road.
So most of the
Yeah.
other roads we ran on,
I think
were
95%
close
of
to
95%
Mag.
of what we ran was close to that, like dirt road.
I
lots
mean,
of rocks.
look at the bottom of these shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
I was just looking at photos though of Moibin Road. So, and also you said that you saved your run
yes.
because you're going to do what with
Well,
it?
this is a crazy thing. So I got a speed work coming up. Not tomorrow, maybe the next. No, I'm doing 20 miles. It's on Sunday that I'm doing it. And so I'm going to take, because WAHOO Kicker, you can save, WAHOO Kicker Run. You can save your like maps from Strava and load it up. And then the WAHOO Kicker Run will match the elevation, undulations, and all that stuff, and have the map and on the
So
video screen.
You can relive it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put Moibin Road on to do my speed work.
Yeah.
And see, then I can get PRs on the Moibin Road with more oxygen. I won't
Yeah.
be at 8,000
Little cheater.
feet.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a cool thing. It's like I could go back and go, because when you're experiencing something, it's hard. Like that's why I kind of love the recap videos, and even talking about it here. It's like when you're experiencing it, everything's unfolding in front of you, and you maybe don't appreciate everything that's happening because you can only take in so much sensory.
Yeah.
So now I can go back and have that positive memory of running with Co, with running with Karl, with warming up with Nelvin, seeing the other people out there and the Kenyans, and I can kind of pull it back almost like a photograph, but instead of a photograph, it's a workout. So it's going to be on that terrain with those maps, and I'm back in Kenya, and now I can breathe.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing that you get to do with the WAHOO Kicker Run. Like that's definitely something I would use it for.
Yeah, this week I'm also going to check out a little bit of the stats to see if I can, like, do I pick up the pace by moving my feet faster, or do I pick up my pace by like just making my stride longer? So sort of that cadence thing. I have a feeling it's a little bit of both, but like my cadence doesn't really change that much. I go like around 78 seems to be my cadence. And even though I tried to at one point try to bring up to that magic number of 80 or whatever it's supposed to be.
180.
Is it? Oh, so 178 to 180. So it doesn't really get, like, even when I'm running like super fast, it doesn't really
Change.
yeah, it's weird. So maybe I'm wrong, but I can find out because
Now
the
you'll find.
data's
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Now you'll know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with you guys for a while, but then I picked up the pace a little bit because I think we hit that like first like nice longer downhill, And, we're wearing the race shoes, and we're actually on asphalt
Yeah.
as opposed to dirt road. So I'm like, all right, might as well try it out. So I think towards the later end of my run, I was dropping down to like the 7s.
Nice.
So it was pretty nice. So after the run, all the pros, we all came to hang out. That was kind of the last time we were seeing everyone. So we kind of just said our goodbyes to Amos and everyone else there. So that was cool.
There's a lot of crying,
There was no
happy
crying.
tears.
There was no crying. There was a giraffe though.
Oh yeah, the giraffe. Like you needed eagle eyes, and again,
I didn't see it.
Josephine, I think it was the person who spotted it again.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just the coolest thing I think I saw the baboon that was running across the road.
That was like that, going down the mountain.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause that was like that. That's a little monkey in a tree. That's cool. A giraffe, neat.
Yeah.
But a monkey that could rip your arms off. That's
Just
cool.
going right across the road,
Yeah.
just minding its business. You're like, damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And cows and goats,
And cows and goats.
cranes.
Yeah.
So that was the last run. Was that the last activity? Were you guys
No.
Actually, was it not?
No, we went back to the hotel and drank
Okay, yeah,
copious amounts of beer.
that's what I was gonna say. We went back to the hotel. We had breakfast at the buffet or whatever.
You're still an elderette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we all went back. So people who stayed at the 42 house, they had their bags packed in the van, and like we ended up all going back to the hotel, had breakfast, and then basically from then it was like maybe 10 a.m. But you basically had free time until we had to check out, which is around 3. So got back to the room, showered, packed up, and then me, Thomas and Co. Like Thomas texted me, he's like, "Oh, we're out on the deck." So they have like a nice little deck
We sat in the
area.
shade, but yeah.
Yeah, sat in the shade, and they already had a Tusker beer there. So they were like, we kind of just were hanging out, ordering beers, and next thing we knew it was like 2:00, and we had drank several of those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then so we flew back on that little prop plane. And now I got to pick up the drone. And
so this is a whole journey on its own.
we also find out that we're no longer on a flight.
Oh yeah, dude, that was crazy.
So we get there and we give them our ticket, and they're like,
The ticket number doesn't match what they had in the system for me. And I'm just like, we get the passport and everything, and I'm just like, what are you talking? She's like, did you change your flight at all? I'm like, the only thing we did on our end was upgrade the seats, but that shouldn't have no effect on like
Yeah.
coming home because I was coming here. And so she was like, I got to make a call, all this stuff. So, I mean, we waited for like basically an hour.
yeah, and it was painful. Like, I think the whole thing I was learning on this trip was patience.
Yeah.
And so we finally, after a very long period of time, which the harder part about it was we had access to the lounge. So here we are, ticking hours off.
Oh, because you can't get to the lounge because you're waiting to get
Yeah.
through security.
Like the only saving grace was the fact that like we did get there around 6:30 and our flight wasn't scheduled to take off till midnight. So we did have a lot of time.
But we didn't even get to the lounge till like 8 o'clock. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, so after we finally cure up all our, because you can't go get the drone without a ticket. You have to have a plane ticket out and the other ticket that they took the drone away from you for. And at this point, I'm almost like, screw the drone.
I was wondering if you were just going to leave it.
I almost did. And I think a lot of people did, because here's what happened. I go into the customs area. This is after waiting hours.
Because Karl's tickets didn't match.
I don't know if both of ours.
I think it ended up being both of ours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tim was with us, first of all, by the way, for this entire
Yeah, he
thing.
hung.
So thanks, Tim. That was very,
Yeah.
you didn't have to do that.
And so I go to get the drone. I have to go through security again over there.
2 different terminals, by the
Yeah.
way.
So I go through that security, give him the ticket. The lady goes back in this room, and I assume it's like that room at Indiana Jones and then the Temple of Doom, where, remember they had all the boxes and stuff, like it went on like
Yeah.
a warehouse forever, because she's back there now for like 10 minutes. And they can see I'm starting to get visibly like, I
Yeah.
gave you my ticket. It's got a number on it. Where's my drone? I just want to get out of here. I'm tired. I'm hot. I've been wearing the same clothes now for a long time already. And so I'm like getting more and more irritated. And the lady at the desk like, do you want to go back and help her? And I'm like, yeah. So I go back. It's a closet. It's just a closet, like a bedroom walk-in closet. But it's also like my son Henry's room upstairs kind of closet.
Just stuff everywhere.
Like there's no organization. They just took the drone and they threw it in a pile of drones.
Saran wrapped.
Yeah, it's saran wrap, and you're like, all right, it's in here somewhere. So we start going through all of them, and at this point, I'm just like, just give me any of them, and they're all the same, you know. It's
At
just
this
like,
point, yeah.
But yeah, and I finally get the drone, finally walk it out. They're supposed to walk you to the gate. That's how like important it is that you don't have a drone in Kenya, but which yeah, I don't know, but you would think it was a handgun or something.
Yeah.
So they end up letting me. That she like, you look trustworthy. I'm like, yeah, I am. I just want to go to the freaking lounge and eat some free food and drink some more free beer.
Dude, yeah. I was so thirsty also. Like, I think my biggest thing was I was so dehydrated.
Yeah, you didn't have any water.
I had no water. I mean, we drank all these beers, and like, I'm just like, that flight over, I was getting a little lightheaded from like the altitude, I guess. And like, I just wanted to get to the lounge because like in that area where you're buying tickets, there's like no water fountain. There's no
Did you
vending
use
machine.
those water bottles you had?
We didn't
that were
have to.
Supposed to filter water?
You know what's weird? My luggage was gone for a long time, and someone asked me if anything was taken out of my bag. I don't see it in my bag.
You left it. I guess.
No, I'm saying
You never even brought it.
No, I packed it in the bag.
you
I'm
packed
saying
it.
I'm saying someone took my water bottle, Karl.
All right. Well,
Of all things, I feel like you should be okay with that.
I would. Somebody's drinking safe water now.
Yeah.
yeah. Mine was in my checked luggage the whole time. I never even opened it. We didn't have to. They for the most part, we were supplied water, like
Bottled water.
bottled water, like everywhere we went.
Okay.
It's just like from the airport, like there was nothing. And they were like, yeah, we'll go to the lounge, we'll have dinner, and we'll like drink or whatever. I'm like, cool. But just waiting for her
So
to like.
another patience thing is
Yeah.
I go ahead and nicely, as Karl goes to sit down for a little while with his water and beer, I'm waiting for our pasta dishes to get. So I hand Karl his pasta dish, waiting on him like he's like a
Pasta
patron.
bolognese, please.
Yeah. And then I go to wait for mine, and someone took my pasta while I was serving Karl. And then so I was like in this, like it was kind of busy, and so now I'm like bucked to the back of the line now of the other people. So I'm just standing there kind of like fuming. So, I get back, everybody else is done with their meal.
They were there for like an hour.
Yeah.
ahead of us.
And I'm just like, it must be some sort of lesson I'm supposed to learn right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we finally got on the plane. But that flight was the rough one because Nairobi to Amsterdam, it's 8 hours or so. But we had those nice seats.
We had the middle seat open too. So we were in the middle rows, 3 seats instead
Yeah.
of 4. And the middle was open. So Thomas and I were both in an aisle. We had the middle seats. So we just put our stuff there.
Oh,
and
that's
we
nice.
also had the front row. So again, we had the more
Leg
leg
room.
room. We had the swing out monitors. It was awesome. It was like possibly the best case scenario.
And then we got jammed into the little seats for another 8 hours. And this is when I started losing my mind. What else are you going to do?
I mean, there's nothing worse than doing an 8.5 hour flight and then getting off at the airport and being like, I got to do it
Do
all
that
again.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mind numbing. And
Yeah.
then we got to Detroit, and the Tampa Bay plane that was in the gate next to us, they're like, our engine fell off. We're going to.
Dude, that was crazy because I had gotten there before you because you were doing something else.
Probably the bathroom.
Probably that. But I was like, oh, there's a brewery right in front of
Oh,
the
no.
gate.
You took the tram down to the gate. I
I
didn't
did take the
realize how
tram,
far
yeah.
the Detroit airport was, and I walked.
Yeah, he walked over to the terminal. I'm like, there's a tram. Like, you could just, it's like 2 minutes. But we were hanging out at this brewery, like, which was great because, like, we just beer and the gate is literally right across from the thing. So it's, like, awesome. But I remember when I was waiting for Thomas, they kept making announcements overhead that, like, the Tampa, like, flight was, like, delayed for a really long time because they found that, like, one of the engines failed. So they had to bring, like,
They're
whole...
saying this over the loudspeaker?
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to be transparent. They're saying, listen, like, don't get mad at us because, like, this plane's, like, really effed up, like, and we have to fix
We
it.
could put you on it, and you
Yeah.
could explode, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's going to take a while. We have to get all the parts here. The maintenance crew has to come. They have to do a whole engine swap. So we're sorry for the delay. We'll give you a voucher or whatever, which was like $12 a person. I'm like,
$12?
Yeah, there were some pretty
Angry
people.
humans, I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we finally made it back to Baltimore. You got to pick us up.
I did.
Yeah. I just remember touching down at BWI. I'm just like, it's over.
Well, that was also
made
hard
it.
because I was like, it was only supposed to be like an hour something flight. And it just felt like the last 20 minutes of it were like super long.
Well, you guys were also delayed.
we were a little bit. It was like 20 minutes because our plane that we were supposed to get on had like I think the nose gear or something was also like bad.
Yeah.
So they did a plane swap. It didn't take as long, but yeah. But we finally made it back, and I think we arrived back home Sunday night. Well, it felt like early afternoon for us.
That's the thing. Like I was trying to think about, like, okay, Kenya is beautiful. Mm-hmm. The people were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like just being in like that hallowed ground of these athletes that you're basically, it'd be like if you were a cow and you got to run with gazelles. Like it was just
very interesting.
Yeah.
Comparison.
Yeah. But it was phenomenal experience. But I'm like, the travel there, whew, man.
From here, I wouldn't do it again. Like from the U.S. Like if I'm already in Europe or anywhere near there, I'd like to go to South Africa. I'd like to check that out.
I think I would go to
cool.
Spain, and then hang out in Spain for like a week, and then travel down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but just going from the U.S. like where we are straight to like Kenya, like that was crazy.
Yeah,
Was
definitely the Europeans were not as like phased as we are.
Yeah,
Like because they
Makes
did
sense.
one leg of our.
yeah. They only do
trip.
one 8-hour flight, and they're like, "Oh, that's nothing."
Well, now going to Europe won't seem so bad.
No, it won't.
Yeah, that's on you. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's the thing, and it was funny. Like I said, I was talking to Kafuzi, and we're like, you pretty much can get any environment that you want around the world. There's some place in the United States that sort of
Mimics that. In a
mimics
way.
it, and I can get there in less than 30 hours.
Yeah.
Mimics the geography, but not obviously
Not the culture.
cultures
Yeah, the culture's
and the
different.
people. And
yeah. And if you are into running, like what Kenya's all about. Like that's the mecca. So it's
Yeah.
like being able to go there and experience. And even though we did, sleep in the athlete's house and it was like hot and whatever, but it's like I understood why they did that because they really wanted us to get like a full
Immersion.
immersive. Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate that from them. So
Yeah, it was cool. And the other thing was, so Artican had given me a Kenyan bracelet a while back, and I remember I'd taken it off because I was like, when I went to Worlds, it was really evident when I went to Worlds because I'm rooting for U.S. I wasn't rooting for Kenya, and I didn't really have a tie to Kenya. And sometimes when people saw the bracelet, they'd be, "Oh, have you been to Kenya?" And I always felt foolish being like, "No, I just..."
you poser.
Yeah. So I had taken that off, and I had said to myself, if I ever go to Kenya, I'll be able to get a bracelet because I'll be like, yeah, I've been to Kenya, and I actually got the bracelet there.
Yeah.
By the way, man, I love Artican, but the markup compared to what... Anyway, go to Kenya. Yeah, it's cheaper than going to Kenya and getting it, but...
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, in Artican's defense, they charge that much because that is like donated.
Right.
Yeah. They're doing
Clean
they're
water,
doing
clean
stuff
water
there.
project. So it's
Yeah, no,
$50.
I'm kidding about
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
Chris, don't get mad. Anyway, so I also then thought, well, now Megan can have one because even though she hasn't been to Kenya, it was brought back by me as
First
a
time
gift.
someone asks me though if I've been, I'm gonna be like, it's gone off.
No, don't ask her. And I got bracelets for my boys. Actually, Co got them for us all.
Yeah, but Co was smart enough to have cash on him.
Or dumb enough.
Or dumb enough.
Because we all used it.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I only wanted one for me. So I was like, and they were like, I don't know what the conversion rate. I don't know the currency.
I think it was around $3.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, like, I'll buy you a beer at some point.
Yeah, the crazy thing though was, like, talk about a cultural thing. So the people who are making the bracelets are just sitting out front of this, like, it's kind of a storefront, but it's also kind of like a container, like a truck container. And like we walked in, and it's the store. It's like a regular stuff, but they don't even turn on a light unless someone's in there. Like that's the level of the country. Just it's not, they're like, if you're not using something, don't have it on. So we walked in and people were like, I can't see. And he's like, oh. He clicks on like a one tube of a, fluorescent light. But then, we all got it. So it was probably a big day for him because it was like, I don't know, how many of us were there? Like 10?
And we all got stuff.
Yeah, everybody.
Like every single person got stuff.
Multiple things.
Keychains.
Yeah.
Just
That's
bunch
a
of
good
stuff,
day for
so.
him.
Yeah, it was like a Christmas sale.
Yeah, exactly. So
But-
we help you hit your quarterly profits. So
Yeah, but I'm excited for Kiprun to enter the U.S. market and see how it does. I think there's there's definitely different ways that I would recommend they come in to the country. I'm sure they have people who are strategizing, but you could come in with the different levels of product, and Decathlon has everything from higher end product to lower end product. And my feeling is, hey, you can always go down, you can't go up.
Yeah.
And so bring the A game.
Yeah, exactly.
But the team was fantastic. I have to say, Tim, Josephine, and Pauline were fantastic.
Yeah, they did a great job planning everything. I know it must have been a ton of work on their end, so very thankful.
Yeah, and Zach from outside, we had a great time, and everybody got along. It was a nice, smooth trip.
Yeah, I like that, because a lot of the trips that we do go on, it's like just big groups, and you're never really able to socialize and like kind of just hone in on but like when you only have like a certain amount of people, you're forced to like spend time with each other and do all the activities together. So yeah, it makes for a nice social experience.
Yeah. You were busy.
Yeah, Meg, what's been going on here while we were away?
You and Feathers doing modeling gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Megan and I kicked off the Move Her Mind event series in DC this weekend.
Does it have anything to do with cows?
It does not.
It's not Moo Her Mind?
No.
Okay.
No cows. And so as part of this kickoff, they wanted us to come down a little early so that we could capture some content, like some promo material for the entire series. And it's funny because they sent us like photos of what we'd be like wearing or modeling in, which first of all, you both know me well enough to know that modeling and being in front of a camera is like literally the last thing I want to do. But so the outfits didn't arrive in time for us to try them on. So we walked to the studio in the morning and literally put on these outfits in the bathroom there. And I was just like, oh, I hope everything fits. It ended up being fine. And we took a bunch of photos and videos. We met with Tania, who's an Asics ambassador, who was doing the photo shoot with us and who we interviewed later on the podcast for the event in the evening. So basically the whole series is about this research that Asics funded with this woman, Dr. D, who actually did it all. And all the findings are basically about the gender gap in exercise between men and women. And women are exercising less. And so they wanted to find out why and how do we fix this. And so that's sort of the reasoning behind this whole series. So we talked to her in the evening, got like a deeper dive into what the findings were and what people can do to close the gap. And if you weren't able to come, it's going to be on Fuel for the Soul. So you can listen to that conversation.
And there's going to be more stops, right?
At some point, yeah. So they're still all being finalized, but we shared the link on our Instagram and we'll promote it other places as well. But the next one will be Boston. So
I've been to Boston.
I have a feeling by the time I say this, it's already going to be full. But we are hosting a pre-Boston Marathon guided meditation with Emily Saul. So she's actually created an audio.
Yeah, you can check it out on Spotify and on YouTube. We did a pre-night meditation for marathon and the morning of.
Yeah.
And I used them when I was in Berlin, and they work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it again for London.
So if you want to come and meet Emily in person, which you do, she's an amazing human. That'll be at 12 p.m. on Sunday, Boston Marathon weekend. Again, we'll put links and stuff to how to RSVP in the show notes, although I have a feeling it's going to be full.
And then you cracked off a casual training run just to get used to Boston at Cherry Blossom.
Yeah.
You kind of kicked some butt.
Cherry Blossom is always one of my favorite races. And this year it was, again, the USATF 10-mile championship. So all the fasties came out. A world record was broken. A 4:59-minute mile for the women, average pace.
Easy day.
Yeah. But
Karl was trying that out on Moy Bend Road.
Easy.
Just throwing down.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see these shoes.
yeah, so I used it as sort of like a long run with marathon pace in the middle of it. So I did a long warm up and then paced the 10 miles about like a 6:15 pace. And for whatever reason, it felt comfortable and amazing. And I think it's just part of being in that atmosphere because it's such a fun race. It's such a flat course and we ended up getting great weather. So it was just like a perfect conclusion to the weekend.
Yeah, and then you got to wait and pick Karl and I up from the airport.
Yeah, I had to drive from DC to pick up our dog who was at the airport, but he had to be picked up by a certain time. And then we went home, and then I came back to pick you guys
I
up.
did say that I would be fine taking an Uber.
You said that after you said like a million other things.
I
like,
said-
why can't you come get us? I thought you said you were going to come get us.
Well, I wanted to see you, but I missed you a little bit. All right, did you want to give a shout out to one of your training partners?
Oh, yes. Big congrats to Kara, who ran her debut marathon in 3 hours and 5 minutes and
I
won.
thought it was 4 minutes.
No, and won the Salisbury Marathon.
Right, and then also a big shout out to Faster Bastard Luke Smith, who had a big PR as well. It was Kara Lombardo and Luke Smith. He came in at 3:08, and I think he was really happy with that time.
Yeah, I just can't imagine running my first marathon at 3:05. It took me like 5 years to
I know,
get there.
don't you hate people who do that stuff? But she's
No,
not. It's not like
she's-
she's not a runner though.
Yeah.
She's thrown down. She's done several Ironmans.
Yeah,
and
she's-
half Ironmans and stuff like that. So.
I think what's also so impressed about that is that how often do you see people who are super fast go out so fast in a marathon and then like blow up and run like a 4-hour marathon when they could have run a 3:05 because they're just like
She was
not
disciplined.
fueling and not pacing. And it's like, that's hard to do on your first try. Like that's impressive.
I think she's also working on her doctorate right now.
Yeah, she's just a smart human.
Yeah, Kara Insano. But yeah, that's awesome. I know this was a long podcast, and you're probably missing Robbie's info in there. But
sorry if I'm not a valid replacement.
oh, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm talking to the fans. I'm talking to you.
People love Karl.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments say
Matter
how
of-
much you love Karl.
Matter of fact, somebody at a different brand than Kiprun said, I love when Karl pipes up.
Oh,
So yeah.
you'll need to give me more details.
I will.
never
I'll
heard
give you
this-
that
never heard
offline.
this before. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we can end it.
Just want to say thank you once again to Kiprun, Tim, Josephine, Pauline, and the whole team.
We know how to say hello in Kenyan, Jambo, but we don't know how to say goodbye.
I was going to say, you didn't pick up any other words?
No.
They
all
spoke so much English.
They spoke better English than
Like
me.
when I said Jambo, I think some were like, whatever. Hey, dude.
Sup,
Oh,
man?
this guy again.
Another American coming over here, Jumbo.
It's like Italians with arrivederci, ciao, buongiorno.
Oh, molto bene.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, very good.
Yeah. Glad you learned a word.
Yeah. But there will be a recap video for this. I'm very excited. I got a lot of good stuff. I definitely want to take my time on it and make it look real good, and you guys will get the full immersion.
Kenyan experience.
Yeah, just like we did. So stay tuned for that. So
I'm excited for that.
yeah.
All right, this time you can look at the camera and say goodbye, Robin.
Yeah.
Hi, Ma.
Hi, Robin.
Give a good stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna tuck run, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop. DROB.